Right then, on to this week's Street Talk. And we get 4 episodes to talk about this week. And I think, next week there is only 5, isn't there? Because there's one day without it. So, a little bit of a short one. But I'm sure we've got all a lot to say about what went on with Todd and Theo this week. But before we do that, we have got some clickbait. Thank you very much, Jonathan, as always, for sending it in. And sending it extra early this week for our early recording. Gemma, are you ready? Now it's the shoe is on the other foot. You've got to do some guessing.
I've never been more ready in my life.
Mirror this week wrote an article that has said this: Coronation Street airs sick twist in abuse plot as fans call out mad error.
You can't be blindfolded to get married.
Kind of, yeah. It was referring to that. That was the sick twist, the wedding this week. And not just the blindfolded bit, do you know?
Just the fact that he didn't know he was going to get married. I didn't think you were supposed to do that.
Yes.
But the guy was new.
The registrar was new.
He was like, I've not done this before.
So basically,
how would I know what's allowed?
So I know that Coronation Street usually does absolutely everything by the book, and no professionals have ever seen their own job portrayed on screen on the cobbles and gone, that's not exactly how it happens.
That's like grossly inaccurate.
But apparently lots of people have been married in register offices before.
Have they?
And one thing, and I didn't actually know this, well, because we got married in a church. One thing I didn't know is that just before the register office ceremony, the bride and groom-to-be had to have a little interview.
Do they?
Yeah, did you not know this either?
But
I'm glad it's not just me.
No, I didn't know that. I think it's probably because the vicar has done that already when you get married. Like, we had to go and talk to a vicar.
Yeah. We had all that. But
the vicar should know who you are if you get married in a church. So they don't need to do this.
Well, I'm sorry
it's
to be...
kind of implied, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But apologies if I'm teaching any listeners to suck eggs here. But apparently, before you get married in a register office, you have to have these interviews, the bride and the groom separately, or the groom and groom in this case. And you're asked, like, it's mostly just to confirm details, like what's your name, what's your fiance's name, what's your parents' name that you want to have put on there, what's your profession, what's your fiance's profession. And that is a legal requirement to have this done.
Be separate.
Yeah, I don't know whether it needs to be separate or not, but from what I was reading online, it sounds like lots of people were being separate. No, it's a legal requirement that this interview takes place, and you can't legally marry someone or get married without this having happened. So the fact that Todd was led blindfolded into the room, in full view of the registrar and assistant, and then the wedding just took place, didn't actually happen.
Can I just say, this is what's kind of frustrating me about this storyline, is that people get abused and forced into situations like this, and it happens in real life, so you don't have to make stuff up.
I'm wondering whether this is how they're going to get out of it in the end. And I know that, if we take the Becky and Lisa marriage situation, sometimes they just can brush it under the carpet that you're already married to someone else, and you don't need to have a massive on-screen annulment or anything like that. But I do wonder whether at the end of the day, the reason that they went down this particular route for the wedding is because it will eventually be discovered to be not legally binding.
I don't know.
I've seen some people say, as I thought that they would, people saying, oh, well, it's obviously going to be Theo that gets killed and on the April the 23rd now, just like they were saying last week, it's obviously going to be Megan that's going to be killed. And this week, it was the wheel of villainy had spun in Theo's direction and he took centre stage. And it could well be that if he gets bumped off in 4 weeks' time, is it now, then obviously the marriage will be over, because you can't stay married to somebody who has been found murdered on the cobbles. But now, it wouldn't surprise me if they went down the route of it wasn't legally done, and that's why they made such a big thing.
Well, the guy would get fired.
It was... I've got mixed thoughts about this wedding ceremony, because on the one hand...
It's like a fever dream.
On the one hand, I was like, ooh, the drama. They're getting married. They're actually doing it. And I know that's terrible. But then I was, and also like, ooh, it's kind of funny. Like, I found the assistant filing her nails actually kind of amusing.
It was clearly supposed to be funny.
Yeah. And
elements of it was supposed to be funny. And I'm not sure why.
It was exactly, after watching it, I kind of gave my head a wobble a little bit and thought, hang on a minute. I thought this was the serious of the coercive control storylines. And Becky was the one that was played for larks.
I don't know what to say about it. It was a very weird choice to tone it that way.
It really, really
and maybe
was.
They were like, oh, this doesn't really make sense, so we've got to lean into like making this a bit, over dramatic. Or I don't even know. But like, I have seen lots of people online saying, "Oh goodness me, Todd should leave him. Why are they together still? He clearly doesn't like him." And then lots of other people having a go at those people and saying, "You're a terrible person if you don't get this story.
Yeah.
You're an awful person. You don't care about abused people." And I think that's quite unfair, because I'm feeling very confused about this story myself, and I don't think it's through lack of trying to educate myself about what it's like. I just think that they're not doing a good job of the story.
I think the tone really, really is all over the place.
And I don't think it's fair to attack people and say that they're like unfeeling or don't care about people or they're ignorant or stupid when they are criticising the way a story is being told, because we've seen it done really well with Jeff and Yasmin. And I think that also the other thing is that if you don't understand something, this story isn't explaining it. I don't think that I was really hopeful for this story to sort of help people understand what coercive control is like, but there's still lots of people who don't get it. And honestly, I feel the only reason I get it is because I did try to learn and read what people said and listen to their stories and read books and things, and had it gone through it myself with a friend. That's why I understand it, not because Coronation Street has done a good job on it at all. And that's no slight on anybody individual here, because I think James Cartwright and Gareth Pearce are doing a really fantastic job of performing. I think the writers are doing a good job on their individual episodes. I just don't know where. I think that it's kind of lost its focus. I don't really know what's happening. It's really unclear from Todd's behaviour and his reactions to things, what he's thinking about this. I can't work him out.
To me, it feels like they're trying to find ways to string it out until April the 23rd, and this was just the latest step in it. And I know that it's still not gone anywhere near as long as the Jeff and Yasmin story did, but it does feel like it's ran out of steam, and that Todd realised what was going on in it. Back in Corriedale, before Corriedale, he was ready to leave him. And I don't understand whether or not he gets it or not. I don't think it's being...
But you see how dangerous it is and misinformed it is to have a story like... I didn't come in here to start talking about this because I think it's sometimes we get too nitpicky and stuff. But when you're trying to do a storyline about domestic abuse and coercive control, and you make out like you can be socially pressured into getting married to somebody when it isn't that at all, and he would have had an opportunity to be asked about this... and I'm sure that the people who work there would have been trained. And I know that the point of it was that this guy wasn't, who's new, and he was, where's the supervisor though? I'm sure that if you go in there and they notice anything that looks strange, they would take you to one side and go, "Do you need some help? What is going on here?" Yeah. Now the barrier there would be that Todd would insist that he was fine and he wanted to go ahead with it. That's what should have been. That's how it should have ended up happening, because that's coercive control. Not just like, "Oh gosh, it's too awkward for me to say anything." And I never
with a little bit
chance.
of a cliffhanger where he says, "I can't do it. I just mean I can't say my vows as good as you, Theo."
No, it kind of like, I've said everything I need to say about that.
Yeah,
Okay, right, just one more thing.
Apart from
I feel bad for the people online who are getting upset that people don't get this storyline, because I do think people are taking it quite personally who've been through this themselves, and they're seeing people reacting, and I don't think they're seeing a lot of the issues that we're seeing with it, the problems, because they're seeing themselves reflected in it, right? So they're not picking up maybe on some of the problems that we are talking about here. So I feel bad for them, because they feel like they're being kind of re-traumatised all over again by this story and people's reactions to it. Because I've had that before, where something's been very personal to me and people don't get it, and it upsets you because you're like, "Can you not see what's happening here?" But I also feel bad for the people who are, sticking their head above the parapet and going, "I don't really get this. I don't think, I think Todd should leave him," because they're not learning anything by being slagged off on Twitter and social media and stuff, by being called stupid and ignorant, because they don't picking up on something that Coronation Street's not doing a good job of putting down.
Yeah, no, they're not. It feels like they're just trying to wring every ounce of drama and shock out of it. And I know that I can fall into the trap many a time. Like I said earlier, I was watching it going, oh, they're actually going to get married. Even last week on the podcast when I didn't know this was going to happen, I was like, oh, maybe they're going to get married. Wouldn't that be dramatic?
But why
that's
should
kind of
you
what
feel bad about enjoying a show about drama? That's the point of the show.
At least I will say, for the positive, it looks like things have taken a turn by the end of the week with George and Summer realising, well, we need to do something about it now. And even in the, I was going to say wake then, it almost was, wasn't it? The reception after the wedding yesterday.
It was like a wake.
Everyone was going, what, you're married? And they weren't just cheering them along like a buffoon like Gary and Maria were, who, I've got plenty to say about later as well, because what on earth were they doing?
Well, this stage, they kind of gone through this stage before a tiny bit where Theo isolated Todd, and I'm guaranteed that Theo will find Todd's message.
What message?
George's message to Todd on his phone going, "You're not safe, come to me." Because that's one of the things that I had to learn when my friend was going through this. You never ever message them anything that the person who's abusing them can read, and then use that as an excuse to cut you off.
Yeah, you can't blame George for not knowing that, though.
No, I know, but that's what that's what I mean. The story should be like that, where you learn from watching somebody go through something. Oh yeah, okay, this reminds me. You come across it in real life, and you're like, oh, remember when George texted Theo, texted Todd, and Theo saw it. Oh, maybe I better, just phone them up and talk to them like that. That's what the story should be like. Not like, oh my goodness me, my friend may be in danger of being forced to marry this guy. Because that doesn't seem like it's very likely to happen. Whereas if you watch the episode, this week, you go, oh gosh, that's a real danger, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Look, we will get back to this storyline later. I'm sure we've got more to say.
It's really difficult. I do think it's to do with it being short episodes. How do you get that done in 22 minutes?
They could have done
when other stuff's going on.
They could have done it back in the day. I mean, comparisons can also be drawn to when Alan Bradley tried to force Rita to marry him as well, and that was over and done with an episode. And she did. She said no, and they turned up, and it felt more real because they were outside the register office, and she saw this. It's like, bloody hell, what on earth are you doing? No, thank you very much. And I know that wasn't the end for her and Alan, but. Yeah, it was quite empowering to see Rita not go along with it after the control that she'd faced, and I kind of hoped in the back of my heart that Todd would have the courage to say, no, I'm not doing this, this is ridiculous. But hey, that's not the story they wanted to tell. We need to carry on with our clickbait. We'll get more back to that story later on. The Liverpool Echo, Gemma. Coronation Street, double return sealed for legends on Carla and Lisa's wedding day. Okay, so we've got two characters that the Liverpool Echo thinks, according to a Facebook group on the fans, are going to return for Carla and Lisa's wedding day. Is
one of them going to be Peter Barlow?
No, it's not.
Really?
Which I know was a theory I had at the beginning of the year, but I think my hopes of that are definitely fading. Because I was kind of thinking that Peter would be tied into the Maggie's mystery in Ken's cupboard, but no, not Peter Barlow. These are. I'll give you a bit of a clue. These are people who would be invited to the wedding, so not surprise gate crashers. People who you think, yeah, they should be there, but probably won't be. Who's related or friends with?
Not Kate.
Kate Connor is one of them, correct. She might just take a little break from a nearly 10-year holiday now in Bali.
She's still riding elephants somewhere.
I think that she is, yeah. She's having a whale of a time.
Who else?
Who's another one of that clan that dominated the street for many a year?
Michelle.
Yes, exactly right. Michelle Connor should come back with a wedding, and yeah, maybe she should. Every time I'm driving down the road now, there's a big bus for the Mayflower with a massive picture of Kim Marsh dressed as Cruella de Vil.
I've seen that bus.
Right there, Kim.
Yeah.
Just seems to be parked in the same spot every time I drive past. Okay, Edinburgh Live. TV, Coronation Street, Mel Roper's long-lost child exposed after shock arrest. Who is Mel Roper's long-lost child?
Oh, God. It's something stupid, right?
Well, they could have also used the well-used phrase, and they're already on the street, which we sometimes find in these headlines.
I mean, I assumed that.
Yeah.
Is it a boy or a girl?
Boy.
Is it Kit?
Yes.
That's so stupid. I knew it was going to be stupid Kit.
So on some Facebook group somewhere, it's always Facebook group, isn't it? Is that all that Facebook is good for these
Twitter's
days?
good for lunatics as well. We're on that.
Yeah, Mel Roper apparently had a drunken one night stand with Bernie back in the day.
And she doesn't remember.
She doesn't remember. I think the story is that she
Alright.
doesn't remember who old Zodiac's father is. So yeah, and it's all kind of
Well, it would be nice if they got
to
back
them.
together then, wouldn't it? For the kids.
That's what Mel would have you believe. Okay, you're doing well on this.
Thanks.
Finally, we've got the Express. Coronation Street Legends return sealed 34 years after debut
Oh my God.
as Will's mum unveiled.
They need to read these out to themselves when they write them.
Well, they don't write them to be read out in a dramatic,
don't.
teasy sense on a podcast.
You just see the words, don't you? You don't really even put it together.
I know we do have some lovely soap writers that are
Will's-
listening to this, so that maybe they do, but...
Oh
from the
yeah,
Express, as far
no.
as
Yeah,
I
soap
believe.
journalists, not soap writers.
Right.
Well, some of them are both, aren't they?
Who is going to be Will's mum? 34 years after debut.
Is it Emma? Emma
Emma who?
Mum. Her name was Emma Mum.
Emma Mum.
Will's mum.
Emma?
Emma Mum.
Are you talking about Fiona Middleton?
Why am I calling it Emma?
Because Emma was the child. Are you talking about...
Yeah, I am.
Is that
Fiona
who you
Middleton.
mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why are you saying yes
How
like
did
I'm
you
an
get
idiot?
that? Had you seen
Can
this
I just
article?
can I just give you a bit of a hint here?
What?
The number of black women that have been on Coronation Street.
Okay.
Pretty
fair
low.
enough.
There
fair
wasn't
enough.
a lot to pick from.
So yes, according
Mel
to the
B.
Express, it's going to be revealed that Fiona Middleton is in fact Will's mum. And that just complicates things between the MacDonald and Driscoll clan even further, doesn't it? Because Fiona is Steve's secret child's secret mum, but
Yes.
also if Emma is Steve's secret nephew's secret mum as well.
But that means she would have slept with Ben and Steve. So that's pretty normal for a soap character.
That is pretty
isn't it?
normal
Yeah.
for a soap character, yeah, exactly. I don't think that any of these are true, but they were quite fun to discuss this week. Well done for getting them right.
I
job.
want Fiona Middleton to come back.
I mean, I think she's too busy living it up in Waterloo Road at the moment.
Oh,
but
well, there you go. We can win her over.
But that was a really great example of just a nice little natural comeback in the Emma story. Do you remember she did a Zoom
Yes,
call?
yeah,
Because she's
she was
supposed to
in
be
her
living in
pyjamas.
Australia. She did a Zoom call with Emma in her pyjamas for one little scene.
And she had to come into the studio and do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they made her come in.
It's like that's the sort of thing that would just make it feel more realistic. Especially because you can do Zoom calls these days. Having just how much do you charge for that? £5?
Me?
I don't know.
For a Zoom call where I'm going to appear in Coronation Street.
You do have to be an
I've
ex-Coronation
got
Street
to pay
character for this to
my agent. So, and I've got to have insurance.
£5.50.
Yeah.
I don't know. Right, okay. Well, with that nonsense aside, let's get on to proper meat and veg of this week's Coronation Street, which is what happened in the week bit.
Was that canapes we just had then?
Yeah,
What
for
was
sure.
in yours?
I don't know if there's something fishy about it.
Yeah, I had some vol au vents with prawn cocktail inside them.
Right, Doom and Groom
Quite tasty.
is what I'm calling the
Yeah.
Theo and Todd story this week, because Corrie is certainly doomed at the moment, it feels like. And then the Bernie, Dev, Mal story, which I was already quite pleased with, the Mal a la Ted, but he's back and he's out of hospital and he's absolutely fine now. But poor Dev got arrested this week, so
He
I'm
did.
calling it the a la handcuffed storyline. It's just ridiculous.
Do you think he knows?
I'm sure that seems cheesy enough that even Dev could have come up with him himself.
Do you feel sad that your surname doesn't really make very many funny puns?
Well, no,
No, you don't.
it doesn't at all.
No, it doesn't. Neither of us. Well, mine
Yours-
doesn't. I don't want to get
yours
into mine.
does. We have the bit of the Swain Ward story later on in the week. That was quite pleasant for not really having any major drama. That, to me, with Lisa and Connie and that lot, felt like it was just normal kitchen sink stuff that people are asking for in Corrie, because there was no big old story there, was there? There was no dark
Lisa
drama.
was grumpy.
Lisa and Carla have been right mardy mares, the pair of them this week. But I suppose having a baby and not getting any sleep in the night does that.
It doesn't
for you.
help, no.
Yeah, both of them have been unreasonably narky this week, but hey ho. So we will talk about that later. And then there was a tiny bit, like 2 scenes maybe, of the filthy rich
I
story.
think you missed out Will Groomed.
Oh, the Will Grooms story. I do apologise. That's going to be our third story this week. Yes, I thought I had an... Oh, I got another storyline title for Will Groomed that I thought of today. Will and Gross. Because it's gross what's happening to him, and it's like Will and Grace.
Oh.
No? Yes? Oh, I also... Do you want to hear my alternative for the Todd and Theo one this week?
No, not really.
Muppet with a ring instead of Muppet on a string.
Who's the Muppet? Who's the Muppet?
Wow.
I hope it's Theo.
Todd's acting like a bit of a Muppet at the moment.
You can't. This is what happens. This is the thing.
I know.
And then people say you're victim blaming and stuff. It's very difficult.
I'm totally not. I'm totally not.
It's a character that's been written in a way that is, it's.
Come on, Todd. Come on.
It's really hard. It's really hard to talk about it when I don't feel like it's being written well. I don't think it's unfair to criticise a character's behaviour in a storyline if you're talking about you don't think that the storyline is being well done.
You're right, it's not the day-to-day writing of it necessarily.
I walked into this, I wanted to learn something about what abuse looks like in a same-sex relationship. Because everything I know about, and I'm not an expert, I don't think I'm an expert at all. That's why I want to learn stuff about it. I thought I would learn more about what it's like, because there's different dynamics at play. There's difference that I would imagine that some men find it very easy to coercively control women who are being controlled, like reproductive coercion and like through money. And the way that Todd was kind of controlled felt unrealistic to me. I'm struggling to see. I'm struggling to learn anything. That it doesn't feel like I can apply this to any. It just feels artificial, and I don't know whether I'm.
I think it's definitely fair to say and point out that Todd is acting a little out of character, and I know that in these situations your character can change.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of it,
exactly.
and it did with Yasmin. I saw a quite interesting post. I think it was on Digital Spy this week, where someone was suggesting that might it have been better if Theo had been going out with James and we'd seen him do that, because I would say that James would, especially old James, would be more the sort of easily pliable sort of person. Can I
just point some things out about the difference between those two men? Todd has got a really strong support system. He's got his mum's house still round the corner from where he lives. He's got his ex-boyfriend's house, which is now empty apart from Summer, who loves him. He's got a job, a stable income. And you've got James, who is a self-employed ex-footballer who doesn't actually have anywhere to live. Well,
I mean, he could live at number 3, couldn't he?
I know, but that's not his home, is it? That's where he's living at the moment. He's not got anywhere that he could, like... Do you see the difference, though? What I'm trying to say is... James is so much more vulnerable than Todd, and abusers pick people that are vulnerable.
Yeah, and I think that the thing is, I think that Gareth Peirce is doing a better job than maybe we would have got had James been given the story, and I think that because I don't know, it's difficult to tell. Because that would have put 2 new actors front and centre, new to Coronation Street actors in the middle of a big story. But we do have an awful lot of sympathy for Todd, considering he's been a character that we have known and loved and booed and hissed at sometimes for the best part of 25 years.
But he is fun, because he's also been a manipulative, coercive person.
Exactly, which is why also in this post that I read, they suggested that Todd be the one that Carl had been having a secret affair with.
Yeah,
and I think that Todd would have 100% engaged in that, like the old
without
Todd
blinking.
would. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was the one that was he bonking Marcus on the floor of the show home back in the day when he was going out with Maria.
Is that what Carl called himself? I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that. So, although everything else that Carl's done kind of ties him. No, because it wouldn't be replacing Carl, would it? It'd be replacing James. And James, that side of the story was a big shock when it turned out that they were at it together. But James
seemed to me to be the kind of guy who'd be like fine with what he did with Carl, but he was portrayed that way.
I think that. Yeah, you're right. He.
But Todd would.
Yeah.
Like, Todd would be like, whatever. It wasn't me. I don't care.
But I think that since
anybody.
Gareth Pearce has taken over from Todd, we've not really seen
No, I
as much
agree.
of the manipulative side. But then, you know, back in the day, when Todd first came into the show, he was a lot more like the Todd that we're seeing now. Because he was very nice and you know, he it was when he came back from London that he developed that manipulative streak there.
I know.
So that's in a way that's why I'm not completely fussed that he's devolved, or whatever the word is, back to that character that he was when he first came in. You know, he's as in gone backwards in time to being a little bit more of a nicey nice guy. I think I preferred Todd, especially Bruno's Todd, as being the nicey nice guy. I didn't like it when he came back and he was a bit more manipulative. But then, you know, Gareth's Todd has his fair share of mischief as well, like trying to get in the way of Paul and Billy, for example, when they were having that whole... So
I just don't know. It feels to me as though this is a story that's been pushed onto characters that it doesn't fit. And I don't know whether that's because I'm trying to understand it through the framework of what I know about coercive relationships, which is mostly to do with men being abused by women. And I don't know if that's my fault, because I don't understand how it's different when it's two guys, because it will be different. It just will be.
Well, Coronation Street has been working as they always do with
that's
charities
what I mean. That's what confuses
this.
me, because they all know what they're doing. They all know their stuff. Like, if you ask anyone who's written these characters, they take this very seriously, and they would have done their homework, and they care deeply about making sure that they portray these things in it.
Yeah, there's nobody on the writing team that's just, you know, farting out a script and
I don't care about this.
No, there will 100% isn't.
Stupid idiots. Like, they all really care about this, but I just think that it's not coming across. I don't know.
It's like the comments that we had from Jan McVery about the Becky storyline, which were along the lines of, you know, I can't quote exactly, you know, we'll make the best we can out of a weird story.
She didn't say that to us.
She didn't say that to us. No, but
that was an interview that she did.
That was another interview that she did.
Yeah, it's... What do you do when you get given... Like, you've got to write this episode where Todd gets married to Theo, and you know that it wouldn't happen in real life because you know what it's like to get married in a register office. What do you do? I guess you just lean into the absurdity, which is what we saw.
But I would be interested to know as well, because that was Ian who wrote that episode, wasn't it, on Wednesday? Like, how much freedom did he have to play up the comedy? Was he told, make it funny?
Well,
was he told, do...
But it's this dark...
As long as they're married by the end of it.
It's dark. It was dark humour, and I think this country has a long tradition of incredibly dark humour and making light of things that are very traumatic and sad. And I think that when you're on the outside of it, it can be very perplexing and it feels wrong. Like, we've made jokes about really horrible things that we've gone through. From the outside, it sounds horrible, but it's how we cope with things. And I guess the same thing is true of George and Todd even working in the funeral parlour. Yeah. It's dark humour. Are you never allowed to make light of something? I don't know.
It was just mixed messages, because on the one hand you had the lady filing her nails, and on the other hand you had like those really harrowing shots of Gareth Pearce looking into the camera, clearly the character not wanting to go through this, and it just felt a little bit odd. But especially thinking back on it, I think I was. Anyway, look, let's run through.
Well, it's also the direction, you know, influences, and the music choice at the end, and all
it was
that. A lot of people put that episode together, and I haven't seen anyone's reaction to it. I just I didn't know what to think about it, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, right. Let's run through the everything that went on in this story. And so it starts off, of course, with Todd missing his marathon, because once again Theo's turned his plane onto airplane mode. His phone. What did I say?
You said his plane onto airplane mode, which I'm going to say is kind of redundant.
It's like a transformer. One day it's an aeroplane, and then the next it's a heat pump.
Yeah, or just imagine the pilot's like, co-pilot, have you set the plane to airplane mode? I have indeed, yes. We can fly now and not just drive around on the floor.
It's funny how in this country we're just all happy calling it airplane mode rather than aeroplane mode, because we don't call a plane an airplane, do we?
No, airplane's silly.
Aeroplane, thank you very much. But anyway, so...
Well, it's because it's a mode that is divorced of...
But it's got a little icon of aeroplane on it.
An aeroplane.
Anyway, I'm going to call it that now, aeroplane mode. Okay,
it does sound ridiculous when you say aeroplane mode.
Todd's sneezing away on his sofa, and Theo's waiting outside the flat in his tracksuit, because he's still doing this marathon, and he's just doing his evil grin, which we get treated to an awful lot this week.
I think a lot of the problem with this story is that you can't hear what they're thinking. And there's a few stories where I've recently said that is a massive mistake, and this is why Corrie people need friends. But this,
they don't need him in monologues all the time.
No, we don't need. Do you just not tell some stories though, because you're missing the inner monologue? Because right, Theo is an absolute pantomime villain at times in this storyline. Like, he's there, like, basically revelling and laughing and happy. But I know that this isn't necessarily what somebody who is an abuser would be like. I think that they wouldn't be like, ha ha ha. They would have convinced themselves that he's messed up again. He knows that he's the villain. You know, Theo's acting like he knows he's the villain. And he's smiling and revelling in Todd's misery.
Yeah, but you can say that not all abusers like that, but some will be,
Some will be.
And also, there is still, they do sometimes try to elicit a little bit of sympathy for Theo. If you imagine, like last year, if you remember, there was that scene where he was hidden away in the builder's yard, sort of crunched up because of everything was going wrong in his life. And just recently we had his birthday where the kids didn't want anything to do with him. And sometimes he does give a look. Like, when things go right for him, sometimes he will give an evil grin to it, but there's also the occasional one, I can't remember, it was somewhere this week, where there's like a genuine look of relief and pleasure and like, oh yeah, this is right. So sometimes...
What are you talking about?
Theo. Sometimes when...
Pleasure about what?
That he's managed to, in this case, get Todd back, and it isn't 100% out, wahaha, my evil plan works. Sometimes what I'm reading from the way that the actor is portraying it is like, oh, thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I know, but can you see my point is that it feels like those are two different people. Like, there's the campy panto villain Theo who like tiptoes around and turns off phones and then laughs in your face when you turn up late for something, and then there's the guy who is traumatized from abuse and rejection, who's sad because he's lost his family.
Well, yeah, you could say that kind of stuff can really mess you up.
I know they're the same guy. I just think that because we don't hear his thoughts, we can only see his reactions to things. And Corrie needs us to know that Theo wanted this to happen, and so James Cartwright's like, yes, winning smile.
But what would you want out of a sounding board for him? Like, you're not going to have a mate who's going to be listening to him going, how's your abuse going, Theo?
That's why I said I don't know what you would do in this storyline. Some stories, like Ash's story, really needed somebody. Because I was thinking about how the other day, she said she was going to come off her meds, and I thought that was going to turn into a story about how people who are on antidepressants sometimes really struggle to come off of them, and when they're on them, they can sometimes not feel them like themselves, like everything's been dampened and they're not really experiencing life, they're just kind of coasting through. I was totally expecting it to turn into a conversation about that, and it didn't.
Well, no, I can't even remember whether we've seen Asher this week, considering the Allahan Winters have been in the, had their own big story. Maybe we had a little bit of her, I don't remember, but... Yeah,
but Asher's story would have felt different with somebody she could have confided in.
But the thing is, we had Sienna, so the character was right there, and then Asher isn't wanting for friends. She's got Summer, she's got Amy,
like also a friend, like or somebody, or a conversation at all with Carla, Lisa and Becky stuff would have been quite welcome.
Anyway, look, so it's the marathon. Theo's there, ready to get going. We've got James, Sarah, and new Harry. New Harry.
Well, he's not. He was in it last year.
This is his second appearance. The new Harry, who's played by the same kid who played. Oh, what was the?
How would I know?
It was that story with Adam and his university girlfriend. Her kid that was the same boy. But anyway, they're there with their Go Runners sign outside the tram station, waiting for Todd to turn up so that they can head off to town together to get started. And Theo comes over saying, "I've been knocking at his door. He's just not. He's not there. He can't be in."
Well, he's probably already there. We should go catch up with him. He's probably already gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Without us.
James is looking a little bit concerned at this, but maybe I read into it that he was, but James doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the rest of the week.
No, James is interesting because he could be the person that Todd confides in or talks to, because they're, and this whole, what I was talking about, the dynamic being different when it's two men. James is gay. He might be able to talk to him on a different level than, like, say, Sarah. Like, there is this barrier, and men talk about this all the time about not being able to talk about their feelings. And I don't think that new Todd really has that problem, but like, you need someone like you to talk to. I don't think that's controversial to say.
Yeah, I mean, James doesn't have a wealth of romantic experience under his belt to draw upon, though, does he? Like, he only came out a few years ago, and he's only been out with Danny since. But
no, but
having him as somebody to chat with.
Todd, I'd rather talk to. I'd rather talk to James than even Gary. Gary's just really manically invested.
You just look. We'll get to Gary later on because it's very strange.
But I guess Gary's the one that they think is their close friend, but he does not understand this at all.
He's not been involved in the story enough to be their close friend. Right, anyway, so half past 10.
At the wedding, Michael,
half past 10, Todd wakes up and he's looking very confused. And we've all been there, haven't we? The day when your alarm doesn't go off and it's like, what time is it? What time? Those brief few seconds.
When you don't even know what day it is as well, you're like, am I supposed to be awake?
Well, Todd's like, I went to sleep on Friday and now it's Monday. What's going on?
Wow, I must have really been tired.
So he grabs his phone and looks absolutely devastated with himself because he was doing this for Paul, wasn't he, to raise money? So
I know, and the MND people are like, well, we're not going to cure it now.
Rest of the marathon gang return to the street later.
Decided out of spite to just give up.
rest of the runners come back to the street later on and they see Todd just outside the shop, who scurries off inside, and Theo's like, look, don't worry, I'm going to see what's up with him, where he's been. So he goes up to the flat and Todd's absolutely gutted by this, and he says to Theo what happened about his alarm not going off, and Theo's like, oh, don't be so hard on yourself. Remember, at this point he's still trying to win Todd back,
they're not together,
knowing in the back of his head that he does have a bit of a deadline because this wedding booking is still open on Wednesday, 2 days time. And Theo's like saying, oh, it's fine, maybe it's psychosomatic, don't worry about it. Paul wouldn't have minded. Look, maybe your body just knows you weren't fit enough. Getting another little dig in there. And he sits next to him and says, look, it's nobody's fault. If it's anyone's fault, it's mine. Maybe, I was the one that pushed you into this training. So he's obviously just been very, very nice. Maybe you were never
capable of doing it at all.
Yeah, and Todd's there snivelling about what a failure he's been, which is exactly what Theo's trying to get out of him there. So they go into the Rovers later.
See, this all is textbook, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
But we have seen it before with the turning off your phone stuff.
Yeah, that is the second time that's happened, and it's odd that Todd didn't remember.
Or didn't go, why is my phone in airplane mode?
Yeah, because he said, I think he maybe made a comment like, oh, I must have been really drunk to have done that. I don't know. But Todd's there. They go to the pub, like I said, and he's there super embarrassed and ashamed by it all. And Theo steps in and is like, "Oh, he had food poisoning, didn't you, Toddington? He stopped off for a cheeky curry after the bistro meal last night, and yes, it went right through you." And Todd's fallen over himself to apologise, and everyone's just there, very, very lovely to him. And then Theo puts the medal around Todd's neck as well. It was
stolen valor.
Absolutely, yeah. Cringe-worthingly.
It was, yeah. Humiliating. It's supposed to be humiliating.
So humiliating.
Here you go. Here's your participation trophy.
It was. He might as well have just given him a wooden spoon, mightn't he?
Yeah.
George is at the bar with Todd later and says, oh, it looks like things are kind of looking good between you and Theo at the moment. I'm glad you're friends, but I'm glad you're not with him romantically anymore. Because
he's a wrong.
He's a bit wrong. I don't think he's good for you. And Todd says, no, don't worry about it. That's not on the cards. Next scene they're in, though, a little bit later in the episode.
They're back together.
They've just been in the bedroom, getting up to all sorts in there. And, it was funny because it was like, played as a bit of a twisty shock, wasn't it? But equally one that viewers probably could have all seen coming a mile off, that they were going to get back together. But I think I quite like the fact that they had it in this way rather than being led up to it. You know, seeing you don't see Theo going back to the flat or the conversation or anything. And yeah, so they come out of the bedroom and Theo's like, "Oh, Todd, I'm glad we're back together." And Todd's like, "What? What do you mean? This is just I've missed marathon sex."
No, hang on. I thought he was like, "Oh, really?"
Did you?
Yeah, like, oh wow.
Okay.
Because it wasn't him that broke it up. It was Theo that broke it up. And Todd, I thought, was relieved for a few days, and then I realised that he wasn't. He was sad and he wanted Theo back.
Right, okay. Well, by the end of the episode, Todd's the one that's snogging his face off, and Theo has begged for it to be taken back. So this little plan, because it started with Theo breaking up with him, and in his mind now, this has cemented their relationship even stronger than it had been before. So a win for Theo here by the end of Monday's episode, and lots of viewers shaking their fists towards the telly, I'm sure. And, you know, Tuesday comes round and Todd's, he's on cloud nine, isn't he? He's drinking tea in the Undertaker's, dunking their biscuits. Nice little conversation about which biscuits stand up the best to the sogginess of tea. Gemma's shaking her head at all of this because dunking biscuits is...
stupid. Disgusting. You end up with a soggy biscuit and a biscuity tea.
But biscuity tea can be quite nice.
Disgusting. No. What is wrong with you? You ruin both things. You make them not like they are. Like a biscuit's supposed to be nice and crispy and crunchy. I
think I really like Dunkin' biscuits. I would never dare do it in front of you.
You can do that. I don't care. But you're the one that goes around and you never close packets of biscuits, so they always get stale. You might as well just eat stale biscuits if you want to dunk them.
But anyway, what I didn't like was when Todd brought up the ginger snap. Now, I would never dunk a ginger snap in a cup of tea. That's taking it too far because that's just a little bit too flavourful.
Crazy behaviour.
Rich tea or a digestive,
maybe if it was like...
You got to dunking a rich tea biscuit in a cup of tea improves it because on their own they're just cardboard, aren't they?
You could dunk a ginger snap into an Irish coffee.
Oh yeah,
with a bit of whiskey in it. I bet that'd be nice.
I don't think I'd enjoy that.
But the whole concept is clearly abhorrent.
I don't know whether I'd want to do it with like something that's even like a bowl bun or a custard cream because
this is mucky. What are you doing? You're making your tea disgusting. If I brought you a cup of tea, right, with a biscuit floating in it and a plate with a biscuit floating in liquid, you go, "What have you done? This is disgusting." And I'd say, "No, this is what you want, you psychopath." Well, this nation has gone off the rails.
You're more of a stroopwafel balanced on top of your cup of coffee kind of girl, aren't you? They're all right. See, that's a similar thing. One of those little Starbucks waffles are supposed to be kind of hard and nicely chewy, but putting them on top of your coffee just soggies them up a little bit, doesn't it? It softens them. It changes them into something that they're not.
Nonsense.
Well, you know, I don't mind. I thought it was a fun little back and forth that they had.
Well, I felt underrepresented in this scene.
Speaking of coffee...
Nobody was standing up for people like me.
Speaking of coffee, in bounds Theo next with his coffee, as he calls it, and saying, "Oh, Todd, you heard them the good news yet?" And he does, and George, he can't hide how disappointed he is. I'm really glad that George is sticking to his guns this week, because a few people have been kind of going along with things, but George is just like, "No, this is ridiculous." And he comes across really well, Tony Maudsley, as the not just disgusted, but also like genuinely concerned father figure really kind of person. Yeah, he is.
The thing is, you know, they say, "Oh, you don't drive a wedge, don't, you know, try to support them so they have somewhere to go if they need help." But equally, there must be relationships where people have gone, "I don't think this is right, this guy is horrible, get away from him as soon as you can," and the person may have listened. It's not like you can never say anything if you think your friend or relative is in a bad situation, in a relationship they shouldn't be in. It's just like not normally something that anyone else listens to. If you're in love with somebody and somebody says, "Oh, I think they're bad news," and like, everyone warned me about you and said that I'd end up doing a podcast with you for decades, and I was like,
Should've
I don't
listened.
think so. That's
Should've
not the sort of
listened.
thing I'd do.
And you came along to a Melanie C concert with me once or twice as well, didn't you?
To a Spice
The
Girls
things that I
concert.
do, you do for me.
My
Well, I ate some
my
courgettes
secondary-
last night, Gemma, so I think we're both bending to each other's will at this point.
My secondary school self would be like, you what?
So would mine.
Yeah.
Courgettes and sweet potato on a plate, and you just ate them.
I made you a delicious lamb loin with red wine sauce, and you are still fixated on the fact that I dared to put some courgette on a plate.
I know.
We had to use it up, Michael.
Is it all gone now, though? It seems like that courgette has been coming out of the fridge a few times this week.
Can you believe that over the course of like this week, you, me, and Rachel have eaten between us exactly one courgette?
Really? How big was it? Was it like a massive snoz combo when it first started?
Sized one. You're so funny. you get like flashbacks whenever a fridge opens.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a fake cucumber, Gemma. It's like masking itself as something delicious.
Oh, you don't like it.
Anyway,
Let's
George
get
tells
some more now because you've run out.
George tells Todd, I really don't think this is a good idea. Theo is not a nice guy, the right guy for you. And Todd shuts him down straight away. It's like, no, I'm not having this conversation. I don't care what you think. We're back together. And that is that. So he goes home for lunch and tells Theo straight up what George says. And Theo's like, oh, really? Well, I think that we should have a word with him then. I'm going to do it gently, though, because Theo's still trying to play Mr. Nice Guy
Charming.
at the moment, isn't he? In
Love bombing.
this scene. Because, as we know, he can flip. On a dime.
See, see how subtly and well written this bit is and well put together, because Theo says, I'll go to lunch with them. I'm taking them to lunch. And again, he's putting Todd in his place. He's telling Todd,
I'll sort this.
I'll do this because you can't handle it. You stay at home. You don't get to come to lunch. You're not part of this conversation. I'm the one that can fix things because I'm the best one.
Yeah.
So you're being punished. You have to sit at home and not enjoy a meal out, and I'm going to control it. It's another really subtle way of like controlling him. And it's, again, they've got some really well done, well observed vignettes of how it works.
Todd does turn up eventually, doesn't he?
He gets to come when the food's finished. It couldn't be more like symbolic. It's like a dog. Like the dog gets to come up. The dog can't eat with you. They get scraps off the table.
Yeah, because your dog's a little bit of a porky pig, as
Well,
Theo calls
dogs
Todd
shouldn't
this
be-
week.
Dogs can't use cutlery. Is one of the problems.
Anyway, so George and Christina kind of can't refuse this meal with Theo, and he says, look, I promise I'm going to make Todd the happiest lad in the world. And Christina she's doing a better job of going along with it. Like she's trying to appease Theo, isn't she? And she's like going, okay, but George is very much.
Well, Theo,
He's not like saying not having any of this, but
She's the
Christina is
peacemaker.
trying to be the peacemaker in it, exactly.
it is like they're the parents. I
Yeah.
do love Christina and George.
Yeah, for sure. I still wish we'd had a little bit more of just the pair of them, because was Christina
What,
not in
Christina and
today's
George?
episode? It was George and Summer in Thursdays, wasn't it? Anyway, George tells Christina, we need to pretend to be supportive, otherwise we're just going to push Todd away. I mean, she doesn't really need telling that, to be honest. She understands what's going on here.
Yeah.
But he's singing a different tune by the end of the week, thank goodness. So Todd joins the gang later once the food is gone, and Theo's talking about how well it went, and he puts a big kiss on Todd's lips, saying, look, we're strong together, everything's going to be great. But then
over lunch, he's just saying, they're saying to him, Todd was trying to move on without you. I don't know why you're back together. And Theo's like, I want him to be happy. I'm going to make him the happiest lad in the world.
Yeah, I said that. So then Theo goes up to the bar where a supposed Bezzy mate Gary is there, pointing out, oh, it's a shame that you cancelled the wedding, isn't it, Theo?
Now you're back
Theo
together.
says, well, you know what, actually I didn't. The booking's still open. And he kind of chuckles as he tells Gary he's thinking of surprising Todd with this ceremony tomorrow, and says, oh, Gary, can you help me out and be a witness? Of course, says Gary. I don't need to think for myself. This sounds perfectly normal and kind of a fun, larky caper. Theo kind of ends the episode by saying, I love him so much, Cocker. And this time tomorrow we'll be bound together forever. What was Gary thinking?
Gary's never been more excited about anything in his life than this wedding.
I really
He wasn't
don't
even
get
that
this.
excited about his own wedding.
It comes across to me as, and it's stupid, it comes across to me that he and Maria are genuinely just excited to be in a scene, to be in an episode, to be involved in something that's approaching an A story, something having been sidelined and benched into maybe environmental issues story for the past I don't know how many years. Gary this week has just been acting like a grinning moron, hasn't he? Especially at the ceremony himself, and he was like giving his thumbs up, going, yeah, this is absolutely fine. I don't see anything wrong with this ceremony that's being taken place in a scummy old register office where the wallpaper's peeling off, the groom's been blindfolded into it, clearly doesn't know what he's doing, is obviously and very clearly hesitant about the whole thing, and he and Maria were just like going, yeah, go Todd, go Theo, TNT forever. I don't get it, and I don't know what I'd like to be able to say it's not in their characters, but we've seen so little of them in previous years, it's difficult to know what their characters are, but I would have thought that both of them should be a bit more switched on to have noticed anything that was not right with this. Like, why did Gary say, oh yeah, surprising him, that's fine? Why was Gary like, why is nobody else here? Where's all their mates? Where's does Eileen know about this? It was just nothing. He just blindly went along with this, lark of a coercive wedding. It really, I didn't approve. I thought it was very silly.
It really gave vibes of Sally the ally to me. Like, you can just imagine Maria being like, oh, Gary, I'm just going to put on Facebook at a gay wedding. You know what I mean? It just felt really, really like performative. Like, we're super supportive. We're just, but only on a surface level. We're not like going to look any deeper into any of this.
Yeah.
Don't forget they vandalised the community centre with rainbows.
They did, didn't
they? Love. Yeah.
I know, but it was screaming, there is something wrong here, and thank goodness that they had that scene at the reception afterwards where everyone straight away said, what on earth, you got married? Because if they hadn't, Gary and Maria probably would have gone home on Wednesday night thinking, oh, we had a good job. Wasn't that a lovely wedding? I'm sure they're going to be perfect for each other, wed together forever. I wish that we'd seen them on today's episode, to be honest. Had we had a scene of them in their flat going, you know what? I don't know, but it's bonkers, utterly bonkers that they went along with this. And Gary's not been a big enough part of the story for me to believe that he and Theo are so close together that Gary trusts him so implicitly that this is all okay and this is what Todd wants. And I know they've done work together, but he feels like he's been kind of shoehorned in every now and then, to be Theo's token mate. But I don't genuinely see that much of a bond between them.
No. It's like manically support. It's like overcompensating. I don't know if this is going to rile people up or what, but it almost feels slightly homophobic that they seem to think that this relationship is like totally cool and fine because they don't they're accepting it because it feels like they're like, oh well, gay couples have different standards or something, and so maybe this is normal for gay. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't have very many gay weddings around those parts, do they? How many?
I really didn't want to say that, but it really does smack of that to me. But like they're going, oh well, this is probably how they do it. A
bit different when Paul and Billy got married, but he had MND.
Anyone with a sense would have sat there. I don't think that's what Coronation Street is trying to portray them as. But if you take these as real people, that's one of the conclusions, unfortunately, that you can reach judging on their behaviour. Like, oh, I don't know what these people get up to. If they want to get married, if that's how they do it, then I'll support them. And I don't know. it feels really horrible to say that.
I feel
'Cause
like
I don't
I'm
think
ragging on Gary more than Maria as well. But actually, Maria should be, even more ashamed of herself for being so blind about what's going on. Because at least you could argue, yeah, Gary's Theo's friend. They spend all their time together. He knows what's, what. But Maria, she's got more smarts than that, and she's not so entrapped and bewitched by Theo's charming Mr. Nice Guy act that she wouldn't have smelled a rat here. She's known Theo. She's known Todd, for 25 years.
It's like Gary doesn't take... Either Gary doesn't think that, gay marriage is real, and so he thinks it's all a farce anyway, which I don't think is true.
That's definitely not true.
Or he thinks, well, marriage isn't really a big deal, so... it doesn't really... how could you sit there and watch somebody be brought blindfolded in and look like Todd did and be like, yeah, this is cool.
Maybe he's just remembering his own COVID ceremony.
Do you think
that was a bit funny, wasn't it? Remember when everyone shouted at us to show them our rings? I'm surprised he didn't say, "Hey, Todd and Theo, show us your rings" during the ceremony.
I know, we wanted him to, didn't we? I think that if you had any respect for marriage, you would not think that telling somebody that they could trick somebody into getting married to them is a good idea.
No.
So it just makes me think that Gary is going, oh my God, you know what, Theo, you've given Todd the greatest gift of all, because if I had to listen to one more conversation about what colour the bloody flowers were going to be, I wish that Maria had blindfolded me and brought me in and tricked me, and then I wouldn't have to have talked about it. That's what I mean. What is this weird? Is it toxic masculinity? Is he...
Well, Gary was in the kind of middle of a story about that last year, wasn't it? That dropped off.
I just find
when he got bonked on the head.
I'm just trying to reach for explanations as to why Gary and Maria would have acted in the way that they did. That isn't just... What is the explanation?
I literally can't.
There are many explanations, and I think that some of the things I've said could be plausible if they were real life characters you didn't know, and you were just watching this scene going, what would cause these people to act in this way?
And it's like they're just having a jolly jape about the fact that the registrar didn't know what he was doing. Like Maria, I would imagine her. I mean, she's a conner. She's, I know by marriage, but she's spent enough time around the likes of Michelle and Carla to have probably said, excuse me, lady, what are you doing filing your nails? This is something important. And what is this? It's so horrible. I also want to know, just moving away from Gary and Maria.
Really upset.
I think Gary and Maria have really...
I think they've been really shafted by
They really, really have, and it's partly, and I know this isn't something that everyone can relate to. Sorry. It's because I know that Samia and Mikey are really, really lovely people, and because we've spoken to both of them at length, and I feel like they've been stitched up a little bit with this.
Yeah.
And I really...
How do you sell it?
Yeah, but also anyway, them to one side, I'm also a little bit confused about just the whole wedding in general. Like so the proposal happened at New Year, right? So this has been a really kind of three months getting ready. I know everything happens like moving away abroad, just like this. Had they done any wedding preparations together beforehand? Because Todd didn't realise it had been cancelled. Had they arranged anything? Yes, I was wrong to say that it was kind of dropped on us in the Flash Forward episode, but was Todd involved in sending out...
we didn't know the date. You were right that the date came out of nowhere, because all we'd seen is them get proposed to, and then we forgot about it.
Was Todd involved in where invitations sent out? Like, you don't wait until the week or the fortnight before your wedding before you do that, do you?
Because they don't. It
hasn't been mentioned. Between the Flash Forward episode and the breaking up, the wedding wasn't mentioned. Surely they should have been saying, let's send the guest lists out. Where should we have people sitting?
Oh, this is what happens when a couple of blokes get married, Michael. They just don't care about any of the details.
Why on earth did they choose to get married at that place?
Yeah, did they do any kind of research at all?
It was clearly there to be like, oh, look at this ropey dive that they're ending up in. But surely, in real life, Todd would have been like, no, can we go back to the normal place, please? Well,
hang on.
And I don't mean the bistro or the hotel.
What do you mean normal place?
Well, just, the place that they usually use as Weatherfield Registrar Office, the nice place.
Okay, so
the nice wood
I don't know about this, but like, do you have to go to your local one? Because when you get married in a church, you have to get married in your local church, and if you don't get married there, you have to have a really good reason why it is you want to go. And it's normally because that church is prettier than this church, and you have to pretend that like you have some kind of other reason.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know that these pre-register office interviews took place, so I'm hardly the expert here. But I imagine your
grandma was a registrar.
I know she was. I imagine you can pick. But even if that's the case, well, sorry, that's not Weatherfield Register Office. Weatherfield Register Office has been on screens many a time over the past decade. And I know that it has changed over the years. When Alan Bradley took Rita to Weatherfield Register Office, it wasn't the lovely hall that we're used to seeing. But this just like some scummy dive of a hotel, didn't it? It looked like that hotel that I stayed in the worst hotel in Manchester, one that's down that dodgy aisle off Piccadilly Gardens.
What was the purpose of making it look like such a tip?
I think it was just to underline, oh, isn't this funny? Isn't this horrible for Todd?
I don't know. It feels kind of insulting in a way. Like, oh, we need to make this really clear that everybody watching it gets that this is bad, so we'll make it look like a crap hole. We would have got if they had got married in I've forgotten the name of it, Westminster Abbey. You would have still gone whoop whoop whoop, bad, this is awful. In fact, it would have been more gross because of the juxtaposition between the horrible thing that's happening and the beautiful surroundings.
Yeah.
So why do we need to like be hit over the head? It's because they did a survey and people went, I sometimes don't understand when bad things happen in nice places. That doesn't make any sense.
But like I said,
surely not.
There was just a bit of a mixed tone to the scene because it was partly that, but also it was kind of funny as well. It was
so hammed up, wasn't it? It was like ChatGPT came up with the worst scenario in the world. Like, what? Please, can you draw me a picture of somewhere that you might get married if you're in a coercive relationship? And it went, yeah, you go. The wallpaper definitely wouldn't be on the walls properly.
Yeah. So I don't understand it. It to me doesn't logically make sense because surely they would have done some wedding arranging before the split up, considering they split up 2 weeks before the big day.
I just think it was really heavy-handed. Like, yeah, you're right. You think Todd would go, this isn't where I said we'd get married, surely.
But the thing is, it wasn't it? Because the booking was still open. And
I thought the guy who did who was the registrar was good.
I thought he was, he played the part that he'd been given well, and he was kind of funny. I thought that the assistant was funny. I think that they all
Are you just upset because you thought it was funny and you're not supposed to think it's funny?
Yeah, I think I am.
This is the trouble. You feel like a right scumbag, don't you? Like, you feel like a proper scumbag when you're like, oh, I found this funny, or this was interesting. And then people on Twitter will rip, if you dare to say it there, they'll rip you to pieces and say that you therefore support domestic violence.
It's very tough because I enjoyed watching the scene. I just looking back on it, I think it's not the way that I would have wanted it to have been arranged.
But again,
I'm really, really glad. I much preferred the second half of the episode. I thought they did a really good job with that, and that's why in the end, in the short, I gave it a bog standard. I think because I was like, oh yeah, people are on the case now.
But it's like you're reading too much into it because this is a soap. But do we have... Like, I've got high standards for Coronation Street. I'm not going to apologise for that.
No, for sure. Because
they can do it really... They can do... They are fantastic. When last week was... People were saying this is the best it's ever been. These are brilliant scenes, amazing episodes.
Yeah.
4.5 we gave it.
Yeah, we did. Last week was absolutely fantastic. And this week, Monday, I could tell that it was just like, oh, this isn't quite in the same story beat, the same phrase as last week's one, because that story dropped off a little bit. But... Are
they trying to turn this into a soap story and move on from the issues? Like we said last week, that's how it felt watching Will and Meghan turn into a soap story about conflict between different groups of people. Is that now, are they going, right, the phase of issues story for this is over, it's now a soap story, and you can just watch it like it's a caper, like we said Becky was?
I don't think so, because there are enough scenes this week still of people looking concerned, mostly George.
It just feels really inconsistent.
Right. Let's whiz through this, because basically, you know, we've kind of said what happened at the wedding anyway. Todd gets surprised, blindfolded at work. Yeah, the Theo comes in and says, "Hey," because he's all dressed up in his wedding suit, isn't he? And the fact that Theo got married in his funeral suit, I suppose, for lack of a better term. Todd did, sorry. That kind of, I quite like that, and I don't know whether he was supposed to read anything into that, but he was married into something that he wears to people's funerals.
Yeah, and also that he didn't get to dress up, and Theo looks like the one who cares in the photo, and Todd looks like a slob because his shirt came untucked because Theo yanked his arm up in the air.
Yeah.
It was also, see, all of that was really well put together. I thought that was great. This is exactly, I don't know. It's not like there has never been a case of somebody getting coerced into marrying somebody ever in the history of the world, clearly. And there are procedures in place to prevent it from happening, and they can be circumvented. But Coronation Street didn't want to worry about that because that didn't feed into the story that they were telling, and it would have taken too long and been too complicated. And I get that they have to edit things out because we can't have, you know, people stopping halfway through a conversation because they need to go to the toilet, because we can't be that realistic. It's just a shame that it gives the impression.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, sorry.
Anyway, yeah, so they end up at this grotty place all set for the wedding. The registrar doesn't know his lines. Theo does his legal declaration first, and then he does his vows. And the registrar's like, "Oh, wasn't that nice?" as he reads them. And basically, Theo is comparing their relationship to various roller coasters and how Todd came into his life like a bright light, and so on and so on. And Theo says, "Look, we're going on this big TNT roller coaster." I don't know whether it's supposed
to. It's red flags all around.
The fact that he's calling it TNT.
Yeah, of course.
It's supposed to be sounding like TNT?
Yeah, it's like blowing stuff up, Michael.
Is it supposed to be?
If you got the symbolism.
I don't know whether it's just coincidence. Could be. But
You're mad.
He ends it with a Jerry Halliwell quote. Scream if you want to go fast.
Is that?
I don't think Jerry was the one who coined that term, but I appreciated the reference that probably wasn't even a reference. It was just me.
I'm definitely at a gay wedding. Like quoting Jerry Halliwell.
Yeah, maybe that's why they didn't invite Sean along, because he would have just burst into song.
No, I think he would have spotted that this was.
I would have hoped that Sean would have noticed this.
Well, Sean had Theo's number.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
Everyone can see through this guy, apart from Gary, Maria, and Todd.
Yeah.
Maybe bloody Gary should marry him.
Yeah, maybe.
He seems to like Theo more than Todd does sometimes.
Yeah. So they have their ceremony and they're all done. Yeah. There's the Theo. He almost backs out of doing it, doesn't he? And you think he's going to. Todd does. And saying, "Oh, I can't do this. I can't make my vows as good as yours." It's a classic Corrie fake out. Interestingly, though, he did know the legal declaration, but off pat, whereas Theo had to repeat it after the registrar.
Again.
But it's like, has Todd been kind of dreaming of this marriage?
I think it symbolised that he's taking this more seriously and he's paying attention to what's happening, whereas Theo is more concerned with theatrics.
And getting Todd under his thumb, under his control. Now, I suggested, and I don't know whether they're going to go down this route, I assume not, that maybe Theo gets Todd to take his surname, for example. Because we had that... It's also not dissimilar. We talked about the Alan Bradley and Rita thing. It's not dissimilar to Yasmin and Jeff getting married at about this stage in their story, didn't they? But the difference there was they went off to Las Vegas, came back and they were married. And that was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it? Because I don't think, if I'm remembering rightly, beforehand, we didn't know they were going there to get married. It was a bit of a surprise, we're married. And then Yasmin took Jeff's surname. No surprises there particularly. But interestingly, she did then just keep it, didn't she? So, I don't know. That could be something that they add, but it wouldn't. Just in case you need an extra layer of.
Don't change your name.
Theo's controlling him.
Don't change your name.
Gemma is not in. Does not
in the club.
In the club of changing surnames after marriage. No.
You
anyway,
can change yours if you want.
Tell you who else hasn't changed their surname? Maria.
Is she not?
She's not. She's Maria Connor still. She's still got the surname of the first person that she married.
Well,
Gary's like,
Maria?
come on, Maria, he's dead.
Isn't that like Yasmin? We don't know what her maiden name was.
No, you're right, actually. So even after Sharif left her, she's still stuck with Nazir. But I suppose she's more of a traditionalist, isn't she?
I'm not getting into it.
They get back, not like Gemma.
I love that you were going. Coercive relationships are sort of one where you make the woman take their surname, like every single hetero marriage up until the last 20 years.
Look, I'm not getting into that. They get back to the pub. Everyone's there. Sarah Louise, George, Christina.
All the main ones.
All the main characters involved in the story have all been summoned there going, some of us work, but
okay,
we'll get there for this because it sounds important. And Gary and Maria come in blowing. They might as well have been blowing their trumpets. May I present to you Theo and Todd? Like, yes.
Yeah. So what?
They're married. What? Yeah, Theo's there, and he's the one that announces what's happened. And none of the gatherers there look particularly impressed with this. And I was very, very pleased that they had that. And it's like, okay, finally, nobody's expecting this to be a long-lasting union, do they? And at least the wheels are already moving, literally scenes after the ceremony to put an end to this massive farce. So Christina puts her foot in it a little bit by telling Theo that George isn't happy about this wedding because he's been having these little chats into the side with Summer and Christina about it. And even Christina says, look, did Theo force Corrie and Todd into marrying him? And George is like, maybe he did. But Christina's told Theo, and Theo kind of calls him out on it. And George is like, no, I didn't say that. I just said that I wish that we'd been invited. And a few other people are going, yeah, we didn't get invited either. Theo, and I would have maybe liked to have seen a bit more of a fallout to this, says of Gary and Maria, they only came along because someone had to be there or something along those lines. We needed witnesses. We needed witnesses.
Well, they kind of reacted laughing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a slight on them. He says the only people that mattered were me and Todd, and the groom and the groom. I think if I was
Maria or Gary at this point, get my own back, I would have said, listen, trust me, you didn't want to go to this wedding. It was rank.
Yeah. Sat down on something. I had to get changed before I came into the pub. They could have had her sitting down on some chewing gum, couldn't they? But I don't think costuming would have approved.
No.
Anyway.
Do they have stunt chewing gum?
Yeah, maybe. Well, they do with glass and probably, assumedly, big piles of poo, don't they?
Maybe it would have been easier to have had her have glass in her hair.
Anyway, what happens? They're looking through photos, Todd and Theo in the booth, and Theo's saying, you don't really look into it, Todd, what's going on there? But he's still kind of partly blaming this all on himself, and he kind of acknowledges that he's been difficult, but he's like, I'm going to make it up to you, Todd, don't worry about this. Yeah, and then he stands up to go to the bar, and this is when we have the puppet on a string playing on a jukebox, very loudly, kind of saying,
symbolic.
Hey viewers, you see what's going on here?
I like what you have actually written down, which is puppet on a string.
Puppet on a string,
because that's adorable.
I don't know, it sounds like he's been strung up.
No, it's a puppet. You're taking your dog for a walk. It's a puppet on a string. Love it. That's adorable.
I mean, Todd is in many ways just being Theo's lapdog during this, isn't he?
Aww.
I don't particularly mind. Often in the past, Coronation Street has had things playing on the jukebox that are juxtaposition with or underline what the main drama is that's going on. But I don't think they particularly needed to lean into it quite so heavy-handed as they did. There were a couple of silly directorial choices. Oh, sorry.
Well, I don't
ones
know.
that I didn't appreciate during this.
Yeah, this felt quite like, do you get it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I did.
But anyway, God, it was something very, very harsh on this
I don't know what to say about it. I'm constantly looking,
Our job is critics.
Wow, I've given many parts where I've said that this really felt authentic, and other bits where It doesn't feel.
And on the whole, I'm still not in the camp of people saying they need to end this storyline now, and I totally get why people want to say that. On the whole, I have thought that this storyline has been a win for me, but like many stories, there are just beats that didn't quite hit, and this week was kind of one of them.
If I feel like a story's being dragged out for a particular issue, then I'm give it more grace. When they do stuff like, we're not going to tell you why Shona's got a picture of Kylie in her wallet for 5 months. That's when
Never
I have
let
a problem.
that drop.
That's the only one I can think of, Michael. That's when I criticise it. I'm not going to criticise this story for being long.
I will say that,
like
I said earlier, it feels like it's been slightly artificially extended to hit that April the 23rd deadline. And I would be surprised, I still don't think that Theo's the one that's going to be killed during it, but I really can't see the story going that much longer than that. It feels like it's getting to the end of running its course.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly not begging for it to be over, because I think, like we've pointed out many times, that there's lots of good things about it, and I think that James and Gareth are doing a very good job, and it's lovely having something that Christina and George can get involved with in a serious fashion, because there's a worry. I've had a bit of a worry that George has just been used as a bit of a buffoon character for all these years, and this is the story that they're really kind of stepping up and using him and Christina as, showing their proper dramatic acting chops. What were you going to say?
For how long this story's been going on, I'm surprised that nobody's spoken to his wife, Danielle. Like, what happened to you? Did this happen to you? I'm surprised she's not gone up to Todd and gone, watch out.
I don't think she cares, because
I know.
She sees Todd as the other man. Like, why would you care about him?
Because it's a story. It gives us...
I'm still waiting for that Owen to turn up, though, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I guess they had somebody do that.
Right, so today's episode, Thursday's episode, it looks like that they have been at it all night, consummating their marriage.
Well, I can't get out of it now.
And it does
it's a legal procedure.
It kind of comes across in some ways as a bit of marital rape there, doesn't it? Because Todd doesn't look too thrilled with the fact that Theo's inviting him back to bed again, and it's literally like he's trying to escape to do the dishes, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he's going along with it because he knows that that's what he needs to do. And again, I'm thinking,
what do you think?
Why did you marry him then?
What do you what's going on in your brain?
What's going?
Like, not in like the nicest way. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
You clearly know,
Where are you coming
Todd.
from here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
mean, I infer.
Well, Theo gets a bit hacked off that
He's not getting what he wants,
get back with him, so he says, I'll just tie myself out with a run then. And he points out that Todd could also do a bit of pounding the pavement for a bit.
Yeah, Lardos.
Yeah.
Massive lazy slug. That's what we all say, isn't it?
So large. So George comes round to visit Todd, and he's looking very concerned. And then we had a great scene. I loved the moment when Theo comes in and he's spouting all these insults about Todd being a joyless little porker and a frigid bride.
Joyless little porker is quite an excellent phrase.
It is. I don't feel bad about enjoying lines like this, because it was the same with Jeff. Some of the stuff that Jeff came out with and called Yasmin, it was vile, but you can't fault the quality of the writing. Sometimes, as the writers of Blackadder will attest to, writing a really good insult can be quite cathartic and quite like, yeah, that's a good one.
They had Evelyn saying it, everyone would be quoting it all over Twitter.
Exactly that. And of course, Phelan's char-grilled fishwife, who can forget that. That was brilliant. So anyway, then
he's saying
it through the bathroom door, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because he hears somebody in there thinking it's clearly Todd. But then Todd comes through the front door, and you can see just for a second Theo is just like, I've been busted. What am I going to do here? But because he's smart, he's able to turn it around. Attempt to, at least, because it's George that comes out of the bathroom, and Theo's immediate response is to burst into laughter, and this is the well that he returns to quite often, isn't it, saying it's just a joke, but he really is just like, ha 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 ha, it's only a joke, isn't it? Oh, George, you did, come on, Todd, tell him it's just banter, come on, I'm just joshing around. And George isn't having any of it. He says, you don't need to tell me anything, Todd, you know where I live. And Todd says, look, I'm fine, honestly, but George clearly doesn't believe a word of it and leaves. And then you get this really aggressive round of applause that Theo gives Todd after George leaves.
He's like, "You're well done. You've stitched me up here. You've tried to make me look like the bad guy."
Yeah, that was a really chilling little moment there. I enjoyed that. And again, it was a case for me thinking, at last, there is no... so far, George's suspicions have really only been that, haven't they? The sense that there's something not quite right here, that Todd's been a bit of a different person since he's been going out with Theo. He has got cast iron proof here. However much Theo tries to dress it up as being just banter, just joking, George knows for absolute certain now that this is a toxic relationship that he needs to get Todd out of, which is the conversation he has with Summer later, saying that wasn't a wedding, that was a kidnapping, we need to get him away from this monster. So meanwhile, the monster is sitting with Todd on the sofa in the flat, again trying to put it down to bants. Todd knows, because he's been on the receiving ends of that kind of bants before many times, but he still says, "Look, I promise I'll tell George, I'll make sure he understands. Oh, he's such a drama queen." So he's very much being Theo's puppet during this scene. And at the end of the episode, he then says to Theo, because he knows this is kind of where it all started today, he's like, "Oh, should we go off to bed then?" Because he wants to placate him. He wants to placate him because he feels like he's been made to feel like he's done, so that's kind of screwed up again. So he's like, "Oh, let's go to bed then." But as he goes, he gets this text message from George saying, "Look, bedroom's made up for you at number 11. Come along whenever you need to." And I don't know whether it was left deliberately ambiguous at the end of the episode. You didn't think so, did you? But we see him getting up off the sofa, going along to the corridor and turning right. We couldn't tell whether he was turning right to go into their very narrow bedroom or whether he was going down the stairs to get out of the flat. I thought he was going out. Then
it's
I thought,
he
no, he probably
really
isn't.
fast, and you wouldn't walk that fast if you weren't going downstairs. But I think he went to the bedroom. I don't think we're supposed to be confused about it, but it was confusing.
Yeah, like if he doesn't really want to go to bed with Theo, does he? So he
kissed him.
Oh, he did. You're right.
Like it felt like it felt
so
to me like
wants.
he was kind of going, "I need to prove that this relationship is what I want," and it's like he's fooling himself, and he's like, I'm going to kiss Theo and go to bed to show, like, to convince himself almost.
But maybe they could have had, and maybe I would have said it was too heavy-handed if they did, a little scene of him like stealing himself to go down that corridor or to turn right into the bedroom.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
I thought that Summer was good when
Summer was great today.
Really upset, and she's losing another dad because.
But hey, she's gained another one in Theo. How many dads is that she can chalk up now?
6.
Summer was great this week, and it was interesting that it wasn't with Christina he was having that chat with, but I guess they're all going to kind of be involved somewhat.
I want to see some kind
of Theo.
I want to see somebody tell Gary and Maria what really is happening and see how they react.
Sarah needs to do that. Was she engaged to Gary or just going out with them? I can't remember. She knows Gary really well. She needs... But then again, she's been a bit of a side character on this, hasn't she? Maybe just having a conversation between Sarah and Gary would do the job.
The thing is, at the moment, all they have got to go on is like, he's got bad vibes and I don't like him. Like, the only person who knows anything...
And also Todd
George.
Is acting very strange and out of character.
Yeah.
But is there anything stopping George from broadcasting to the world now what he heard? I suppose you've got to be careful in these situations, because if you're worried about the safety of Todd and also thinking he's not necessarily going to come when I call him, even if I make up a lovely bed for him, he might think if I go telling everybody what I heard, then Todd could end up being Theo's punching bag again.
That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah. So they're going to be sneaky about bringing him down, but how on earth are they going to do it when Todd just seems to be willfully walking into...
He's not.
Blindfoldingly.
He's not willfully doing anything.
I know he's not, but it sometimes comes across that he is.
This is the problem with the way that the show is depicting. And again, it's I don't know if it is actually possible to do this in an universally understandable way on a soap without hearing what people are thinking. And even then, I just think that society is so broad and so many people have got different experiences that it's really difficult to get people to understand what's happening.
I'd like the ending of this to be something which is properly character driven and Todd finding the courage at last to break free, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it on his own. I wonder whether they're instead going to just have some major twist, like Theo be killed off at the wedding, and it will kind of force the hand of the storyline to end or to...
But you can't make it like a moral, like, he's a good guy, he's like, well done Todd, you got out, because there are people that can't, and it's not because there's anything wrong with them. You know what I mean? It's really difficult because you're talking to people, you know, you're making a story for people who have experienced it, who haven't, who are going through it. You've got to be really careful about how you depict people who are experiencing this.
Yeah. I wonder whether, if, you know, sometimes they have the villain get caught out by lots of people overhearing them saying things, don't they? Like being broadcast over a microphone into the room, you know, if everybody heard what Theo was doing,
was saying to George.
Yeah, I don't know.
But equally, it really does depend on what your relationship is and like what I don't know. Some of the comments he made were really horrible. I guess
I don't think there's any excusing what he was heard to be saying.
Yeah,
heard to be
I think
saying.
some people have weird ways of talking to each other, but calling someone a joyous little porker is a bit...
Especially if you've got concerns
already
about the relationship already, yeah. Right, anyway, we must move on. That was that story this week. I had our issues with it, but I am still genuinely gripped by this story.
I think that when the wedding episode was a super unique and thought-provoking episode in the way that it was portrayed, the whole thing. Like I said, it felt like it was a fever dream. It felt like it wasn't quite real. It felt like everything was hyper... Like, everything was like, racked up a notch more than real life. And, like, it felt cartoonish.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, is that effective in kind of, like, showing Todd's kind of perspective of, like, this can't be my life. Like, this doesn't feel like a reality. I don't know. It was very interesting.
It was. I'm glad that they gave it a bit of breathing room this week, even though I just wanted wall to wall Driscoll stuff this week, to be honest, and we didn't really get much.
Yeah, why didn't they get to go to the wedding? I bet you Maggie would have had some things to say about the register office.
We must move on. And a handcuff, Gemma. I would let you take it. I mean, but before we go, any overall thoughts about how this story has progressed this week?
This one?
Yeah.
No.
So not so much the same as the Todd and Theo one.
Just talk about it as we go through.
Okay, I suppose maybe that's why we're running so late. We can talk about it and then discuss what happened.
What do you think?
No, well, it's
just annoying. I just didn't like Dev getting arrested.
I just thought it was funny how like Monday's episode, it just went very quickly from Mel saying, "Oh, really? I can get Dev arrested," to the very next day he's got his handcuffs slapped on him. But yeah, it was definitely today's episode was quite uncomfortable to watch for this story and the Theo and Todd story, wasn't it? But I'm glad that they didn't go down the whole Anna Windass and Pat Phelan route, and Bernie was able to kind of get away from it, thanks to Ryan. If only Ryan had been at the hotel that last time, eh?
If only Ryan had been at Theo and Todd's wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
Ryan needs to be like the bodyguard.
Just looking through the window in the door, going, hang on a minute, there's something not right here.
He
bursting in there, get away from him.
Tackles the woman with the emery board.
Did anybody notice in that scene where Ryan was looking through the hotel door, the room numbers in the background, and underneath was, what was it, the Daniel Suite, I think? Like, he's got his own room there.
Yeah, it's just for the cardigan.
That is the room where you go on to every other room is for illicit extramarital sex, but that one room is for getting prostitutes to dress up in cardigans, and that's just how Chariot Square runs. Anyway, what went on there this week, Gemma?
On Monday, Dev and Bernie are back from their holiday, and Mal jumps up and he's like, guess what, I'm fine now. I'm not in hospital anymore.
Anyone else forget that they were away on holiday?
Me. He says hello, and they're like, can you go away? And he's like, no, I love it in Weatherfield. It's the people. See you around, kids. And they're like, oh, how infuriating.
I'm still, as creepy as this storyline is, the guy who's playing Mal is still doing a really brilliant job.
I think he seems like a nice guy. I don't understand why
still not
everyone's
completely sure yet.
No, we need more evidence to gather about this.
He's really doing a brilliant job of looking unhinged.
But he's good at seeming pathetic and sad and like...
No, he is.
Pathetic, like, oh, don't cry, Mal, you pervert.
He is. I know, he's had a rough time with Alice. His wife's left him, poor chap.
He's the kind of guy that would win onlookers over, you know. Because it's like, why have you upset this guy? And because you don't know the whole situation. Because he's just really good at manipulating. Yeah,
although he can be a little bit on the intense side.
Yeah, he is.
He doesn't give off creepy vibes unless you kind of know.
Unless the actor wants you to think this guy's creepy.
Yeah, and like Theo, he can kind of turn on a sixpence as well, can't he?
I think that some people will have different opinions about how creepy Mal is.
I'm sure they will.
But to me, I
really enjoying the
I do think that the actor hasn't got what I would say looks like that classic kind of like, this guy is creepy until he wants to. I think he's a really good actor.
He is. He's really, very, very well cast.
So Bernie goes and sees Kit at the flat and she's like, why is Mal still hanging around? And Kit's like, don't worry about it, he'll just get bored and go away. But he doesn't. He turns up at the cafe going, oh, what'd you do on your hollybobs? And Dev stands up to him and gets him to leave, and he slightly brushes his arm and Mal's like, oh no, you've hurt me. And Lisa's there. This is outside the cafe, isn't it? She's like
taking Connie for a walk.
She's got a pupper on a string, and he says, "I want to see him charged." And Lisa's like, "I don't have time for this. I doubt that's Dick, but let's not do this again."
I thought that was bizarre from Lisa because I can't remember how much she saw, but she was like, "No, of course not." But then she was like, But next time, maybe. She almost kind of said that in a threatening way to Dev.
No, but she was like, I don't know the situation here, but I do know that you could both get yourselves in trouble, so let's leave each other alone.
It felt to me like it was a veiled threat at Dev, who later on this week, we're seeing that Lisa's a little bit more, oh, he's our neighbour, this is a bit awkward. I mean, as if she doesn't spend half of her life going around arresting the neighbours. Yeah, I thought that was an odd take at the end of that, but... it just came across
to me as somebody who's like over everyone's crap and's got other problems to worry about.
It just felt to me like, if you want to see someone arrested, you just need to cry out twice. That's all it needs to be.
It's not one go in the bin, is it?
No, I mean, is this why? How many times has Theo cried out? Publicly, none, I suppose. That's all he needs to do.
Okay, I don't know what you mean.
What? Did I say Theo or did I say Todd again?
You said Theo.
I keep saying the wrong person.
You do.
How many times
can we
has Todd...
do something about that?
You literally can't. I'm forever cursed with saying the wrong character's name. If only this weren't an audio podcast, I could have little flashcards every time I'm speaking about somebody.
Do we need
Todd just needs to... I know what the character's called.
I forget
names. I know what
names.
they're called.
Yeah, so do I, but I forget to say I forget the name, and you just say the wrong one.
I'm hopeless. I'm just absolutely hopeless at it. Anyway, carry on.
On Tuesday, Mal goes to speak to Lisa at the station, says, I remember who it was that attacked me, and Kit then gets summoned to come to the station by Lisa because of that, and he's panicking, but when he gets there, she tells him Dev is the one who attacked him. He's like, what? And she says, no, I know this is really difficult. I thought I'd give you a heads up because, you know, Dev is Bernie's husband. And I was like, oh, yeah. I obviously knew that Devon... sometimes I'm a bit slow on remembering how everybody is connected to everybody else on this show.
One of these... It's like the names. Like, I remember, but it doesn't necessarily...
click to me. Yeah, I know. It's so dumb. So I was like, oh yeah, that's a bit of a crapper for him, isn't it? She says, we're going to do this by the books. I'm going to take Silent Partner in. We're going to have an interview. We're going to haul him in. They arrest him in the shop and lead him off.
Yeah, Dev's like, hey, I didn't do it, baby. Wasn't me.
What crime is it this time? It wasn't me.
Crime of passion. Guilty as charged.
I love the ladies too much. That's also me.
Fashion crimes? No way.
Crimes against photography? No. I love him. So
Crimes of acting? What?
Never. On Wednesday. No, he does it. No, don't be mean. He's fantastic.
I loved it. I'm not being mean. I love Dev.
He is great.
Unconditionally.
I do. I think when he wants to be serious, he really is. Because when he's interviewed, he is not like, hey, I didn't do it, baby. Imagine.
They know how to get the tone right some of the time. They could have played it as a comedy interview scene.
A comedy interview with Lisa Swain, where he's like, hey, look, what do you mean?
Yeah, and then
I
just
offered
had
you
like...
beans, and this is how you repay me.
And Lisa's like, I'm just going to put on the jukebox for this interview. It wasn't me.
He goes, yes, that's exactly.
Shaggy, my man.
Right, stop.
That's Dev's anthem, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a classic. We all love that one, don't we?
Or was he Mr. Bombastic? I don't know.
Completely unproblematic song.
He is the Weatherfieldian Shaggy.
Let's talk about... He's upset, right?
Sorry.
Gemma finds Bernie talking to Sarah, and Bernie just tells everybody that Kit did it. And so Gemma finds out. Sarah already knew, because obviously she's Kit's girlfriend, to remind me myself. And she's like, well, what do I do here? It's my husband versus my boyfriend. This is a classic soap dilemma. Hope I get on the front cover of the magazines.
I can't remember. I don't think at this point we knew that Bernie knew. I think maybe she just suspected, possibly. I don't think she knew at this point.
They had a conversation.
Later on, her and Mal have a conversation.
I thought Kit told Bet. I thought that they had a conversation about this.
I don't think they did. But anyway, at the end of the episode, towards the end of the episode, Mal tells Bernie, because she says to him, "Look, I know Dev didn't attack you," and he says, "No, it was."
Well,
Kit.
yeah, she confronts him,
and I couldn't remember. I mean, I was only half watching, so.
Well, listen.
By the end of the episode,
let me tell you what happened. Kit goes to number 7 and Bernie's like, what the hell are you doing? And Kit's like, don't worry about Dev, he's going to be fine, there's no evidence, it's going to be over. Then Lisa talks to Carla about it and she goes, oh, I'm not supposed to tell you. Guess what? She's got Craig's disease.
She has.
Come here. Guess what's happening?
Guess what, Carla?
I'm not supposed to say anything. She thinks she's very suspicious of what's going on here, but she hasn't put everything together. I thought it was odd that
Carla was so interested in it. Now, what's she got to do with Dev?
I'd be interested if the guy who ran the corner shop that's literally across the road from me got arrested for beating somebody up.
Do you think that's where she just drops off on the way to work to pick up a bottle of booze for the day?
Yeah, of course she does. She was in there the other
Carla,
day.
What's it going to be today?
She was in there the other day demanding some pistachio cream biscuits. I think you have forgotten.
Oh, yeah.
Which are actually only available at Fortnum and Mason. Because my sister-in-law bought me a packet for Christmas.
There we go.
Because me and Carla are very alike. I bet she doesn't dunk it in her tea.
I bet she does. That's why she's got that massive mug.
Yeah.
She can fit a wagon wheel in there.
Entire packet of biscuits just floating around inside. Anyway, Mal comes up to Bernie in the street and says, you need to leave me alone. I know that Dev didn't attack you. And he's like, no, I know he didn't. I know it was Kit. So now you've got to decide who's going to suffer the consequences. And she's like, please stop this. And he says, I will. In exchange for one night with you. I've seen a film. Then it'll go away. Yeah,
what did you think of that confrontation, that ultimatum when he dropped it on her?
Well, I just felt like a soap story.
It felt like
a juicy
it was getting,
soap story.
It felt juicy, but also like unnecessarily icky. It had already been a darkish story.
Why are they trying to malign this guy again? Poor Mal.
It already felt like it was an icky story, but this is just like, it's got more serious now. Before he was just a bit of a
happy-go-lucky pervert,
just trying
a likeable scamp,
just a bit of an irritant, somebody who wouldn't get the message. And now he's kind of saying to her
something different to me.
Yeah, he's being a bit of a pest, and now it's turned into you're going to sleep with me. And I wonder, like, what is he kind of saying? I'm just going to not tell the police either of them, and how's he going to decide?
I don't care. I don't think it mattered. I think it was all a lie. If Bernie she's smart enough to know that even if she slept with him once, he would just use that as blackmail against her. I'm glad that it all was over from that angle of the story by the end of Thursday, because he's a psychopath. You can't trust him. He would have told Dev that they slept together. He would have kept on saying that it was Kit or you can't trust him.
One night in the sack with Bernie wouldn't have been enough to quench his thirst.
I would want more as well.
Yeah, and that's, I suppose, the difference between this story and what happened with Phelan and Anna, because I don't think Phelan was looking, he wasn't
obsessed
desperate
with her.
He wasn't obsessed with Anna, desperately in love with it.
Move.
That totally was. And he just wanted to use her to show that he was the dominant one. But
yeah, it was disgusting.
Yeah, but with this, it was just like, I'm
totally
going to try anything.
Stalker.
Yeah.
Creep.
A happy coincidence that has maybe
he's got some kind
he's
of
taking
leverage.
advantage of. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a happy coincidence he got beaten up.
He's
put into
fine.
a coma.
He's okay.
So that was lucky. On Thursday, Bernie's brooding. She doesn't really know what she's going to do. She hasn't decided, and she's worried about Dev. And
he's like, no, I'm innocent. No, I'm fine, because he's out by this point. Isn't he?
He's been released on bail, I guess.
Yeah.
And Gemma's like, look, we need you to cheer you up. Let's go to the pub. And she says, no, I've got to go to the dentist. But she's getting her teeth examined by Mal.
Yeah.
Because she goes to the hotel.
Say, here comes my tongue.
I don't think she's worked out what her plan is. I think
I was wondering what you were thinking about that. Like, what was she going to go along with it? Because she's got a cheese and onion sarnie, hasn't she? The king of sandwiches, I have to say. She
is. She believes in herself, and she's scrappy, and she is I think her plan was to try to get him so drunk he can't do anything.
Yeah, because
put him off.
Because she was trying to get the booze, wasn't she? I think.
Do you know that not everyone's idea of a cheese and onion sandwich is the same as yours?
Yeah, tell you what, Jeremy, if you gave me a snog after eating a cheese and onion sandwich, I would definitely thank you for it.
I'm telling you that you're thinking of cheese and onion as grated cheese inside mayonnaise with chopped up
What
onions.
are you thinking? And emptying a bag of crisps onto the bread. Also pretty good, but salt and vinegar, my preference there.
A cob, batch, bun, roll, whatever you want to call it, with a big slice of cheese and a big slice of raw onion.
Not as good as yours then.
I don't know whether she was eating that, but that would have been even more offensive.
I think that
on the breath.
Although she was trying to put him off, I think she had realised that if it doesn't work, that she was going to go through with it. Because...
No, I don't know that. I think she had that corkscrew ready for no matter what.
Do you reckon? Because
I don't think she was going to let him touch her.
I don't know. I really, really don't know. I know she didn't the first night that they were together. You know
that's because she didn't want to.
The post-funeral episode, but she does. She I was kind of seeing her playing it as like, I'll do it for the sake of my family. I won't tell my family. Like I would have said that. Has she not learned a lesson yet about keeping secrets from Dev? Because this whole story kind of was kicking off with her knowing what happened between the two of them, and I can't tell Dev. Dev can never find out. I mean, surely Dev's going to find out about this, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's why I think she never intended to go through with it. I think she thought to herself, I can handle this. I don't need him
But
involved.
I still think that when, and I'm sure it will be a when, Dev finds out about it, he'll say, well, you were going to go to bed with her?
Oh,
and she
God.
was like, no, I promise I wasn't. But I don't think he'll believe her.
Oh, he will.
I don't know.
No, I hate that. Shut up.
Yeah, sometimes
that
characters can believe things for maximum drama potential.
That is true. I think she thought, no, I'm going to get out of this one way or another, even if it ends up in a fight.
Yeah, one way he's going to get screwed with a corkscrew.
He's not going to sleep with me. I'm going to work out how to get out of this somehow. I'm not sure how yet, but I believe in myself. That's what I thought.
I was quite surprised that it happened today, to be honest.
This is a very empowering storyline, girl power. She overcame almost being raped. That's a really empowering storyline for women to see. That's why Game of Thrones was so good.
Yeah.
No, I really like Bernie.
Only Sansa had a corkscrew there.
I know it's because they just opened it with their teeth back in the day. They didn't invent corkscrews.
Back in the past, when Game of Thrones was
it was
very real and
back
true.
in medieval times, wasn't it?
I don't remember that. From
Explain
history,
all the dragon. Explain all the dragon fossils then.
Come on, carry on.
Right, so she goes in to the hotel room, And Ryan is there. He knows what's up. He's curious. He's spying. Mal's cleaned himself up. He's like so delusional. This is why this doesn't feel like a story.
It's creepy, isn't it? It's like, I've washed myself up. I'll freshen my breath up.
I know that this is kind of, there are parallels in real life, but this guy just feels like such a storybook villain, doesn't he? Like, he just has no perspective on. But I know people can be delusional in real life.
Yeah, no, I believe him.
But he's like, she's there just casually eating a cheese and onion sandwich, and she's like, yeah, we'll get some bevies in, and he's like, yeah, let's get some drinks in. I don't know why you're acting like I'm the villain here though. You always seem like you're freaked out by me. Like I being in here together with you is like everything. The best is yet to come.
Like, does he get it? Because this is the same conversation we had with Theo, isn't it? Like, sometimes Theo, the way he's acting, he knows that he's Mr. Moustache Twirler, and sometimes he like feels like everything's going wrong for him and it's not his fault, and of course he should be back together with Todd. Like, does Mal understand here what he's doing is wrong, or is he just so delusional? Because sometimes, and then he'll flip, won't he? Just like the way that Theo flips. Sometimes Mel just goes off his rocker.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he completely understands himself, because he hasn't got control of his temper.
He doesn't have any perspective.
No.
She should have.
It makes me really want to have Alice on the programme.
I know.
Just to see
Alice
what was
isn't real.
What was she
Alice
like?
is like, what's his face's mum?
Norman Bates' mum. No, I mean, she's just a text message away. Roy's got her number. I say give her a ring and find out the deal with him. I don't know what particularly she could add, other than, yeah, he was a psycho when he was married to me for all these years.
Mal should have, Bernie should have given Mal some of her sandwich.
Why?
Because he's malnourished.
How long have you been waiting to drop that one?
Quite well. Maybe that's why he's crazy, because he's been driven mad by all the jokes.
About his name.
Like, can people stop adding Mal to the front of words and making...
It's not a prefix.
It's my whole name.
Apart from it's not, is it? It's Malcolm. But...
Right, so...
We also had a Mel, didn't we, this week, introduced to the Corrie canon? Like, it really feels like they're starting to do it on purpose.
They're getting to you, Michael.
It's like, how can we trip up Michael now? Let's have Will's mum be called Mel. Oh, come on.
Mel B, see?
Yeah, I know. But
she was in Corrie once.
At least I can't see too much crossover between those storylines. So that doesn't usually stop me, does it?
He's secretly her dad.
Carry on.
Right, so Mel's like, don't worry, Bernie, you'll feel different about me once the pheromones kick in, which is such a disgusting, creepy, weird, totally misinformed.
It makes it a theme of it scientific and
well, yeah, I've seen plenty of guys trying to use fake biology against women.
It's science.
Yeah, it's science. Pheromones. You can't say anything about that. So that's a science word. So she says, let's order some brandy to get started. And he says, no, I've cottoned on to you now. You're just playing for time. He gets really aggressive and starts accusing her of stringing him along. And
this is a classic Mal flip that we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, he can in some way be worse than Theo when he flips, can't he?
Well, there was a bit when they were talking, actually, I forgot to mention this, when George and Summer are talking about how Theo treats Todd, and then Summer says, oh, you don't think that he would hit him? Like, would Theo hit Todd or not? And George is like, yes, I think he might. And I thought to myself, you guys don't even know, like, genuinely, what that guy has done psychologically to Todd is so much worse than hitting somebody. I know hitting is bad, but it just was so clear to me that they don't really understand what it is that Theo's been doing. Like, you can be in a relationship with somebody and not lay a finger on them and do such damage to their psyche and their, mess them up so badly.
Yeah.
You don't need to hit somebody to abuse them.
Oh, why did Billy die? Billy knew it all.
If only Billy had just done a quick voice note while he was burning alive.
If only Todd hadn't made Billy leave early.
It's all Todd's fault.
It's all Todd's fault.
Theo was right. Right, so Bernie says this is coercion. She points out very calmly, like, I wouldn't be here. You're making me come here. This is nothing that I want. And he gets really mad and he makes fun of her and says her kid's got stupid names and she's got crystals. And a lot of people
calls
probably...
their kid Gemini and
a lot of people
Apollo.
at home probably like, yeah, I'm with Mal on that one.
and the insult writers were on fine form here as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
What was it that Theo called him? A little joyless little porker?
Yeah.
Well, Bernie's a drug-loving train wreck.
And a Zodiac-loving waste of space. He needs a darn good seeing to. That was cringe. That was disgusting. That made me go
What,
cold.
the darn good seeing
Yeah,
to?
that was like, I want to smash a lamp over your head. I'll go in there.
Yeah.
I'll help. Never mind Ryan. I think quite a lot of people wanted to raid that room and give him a smack.
Yeah.
I'll give him a good seeing to, but he won't like it.
He's so good.
Strangle him with a...
I love this
curtain.
character.
Yeah, well, he's
Love
creepy.
to watch him.
So Ryan bursts in and gives him a bit of a slap about, and she gets a bottle opener and is like, "Oh, you tell the police it wasn't Dev," and he's snivelling, and Ryan's like, "Call the police! I'm your witness," and so it's all very like Ryan's got no idea, but he's got Bernie's back, which I absolutely love him for, and Bernie's like forcing this. What is he like? What is not confession, but forcing him to say he's going to tell the police. What do you think's going to happen?
I don't
think
know.
He's going to run out and make it worse, isn't he?
I'm not sure what he can do next because Bernie doesn't tell Kit about it later. She just says to him, "Look, Mal's going to not blame Dev anymore.
He's had a wake up.
He's had a wake up call or something," and it's kind of left like that.
Ryan asked no questions, which I don't know if that makes him a G or not, but
we didn't see whether he did.
Hug.
Yeah, he gives her a hug. There may well have been questions afterwards, but that wouldn't be purposeful to the plot because I can't see that Ryan's going to play a big part in it.
I just like to imagine that he wordlessly runs in and then just goes and's like, "Oh, no, this is a service that we provide at Chariot Square."
Well, you need it at that place, don't you?
I don't want to tell you how many times I've walked in on Carl.
Yeah, exactly. In this very room.
Yeah, this is the room we put dodgy people in. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
I think that Bernie thinks she got the upper hand here, and I don't know if she thinks it was enough that it felt as though it could have been possible that Ryan could have called the police and had him arrested for attempted rape.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
think it would have worked out that way because I know what the rates are for...
Well, yeah, Mel would have just said no.
No, I didn't, and then it would have come out.
We always had this thing ever since we first met.
How would you untease this if you are presented with all of this evidence and all you know is he said, she said, but also this guy's, her husband, and he attacked that guy.
What can they do?
It's
can
quite
they just
damning,
get
isn't
like
it?
a restraining order against him? I don't know how these things work particularly, but...
Well, lots of people will tell you there's nothing that you can really do.
No, I was going to say.
The stalking laws...
Well, we went through this with Daisy, didn't we?
Yeah, what do you do? Like, we've got to wait for him to throw acid on you and then we'll
I can't
take
remember.
it seriously.
I can't remember what they did. Like, did Daisy get anything against Justin, or did it take until the acid attack? I don't remember. I don't know.
It's such a difficult topic because you can't just have people being punished because somebody said something happened and you can't prove it. But it's so obvious that these things happen all the time and nobody gets punished for it.
Yeah.
How on earth? I don't think we've worked out what we can do about this. Has any country figured this out?
It makes me wonder, like, will Bernie tell Dev? It feels like the answer's no to that because of drama reasons. But if she did, like, would that be enough to have Dev go round and give him a bit of a pummeling? Because Dev is a lover, not a fighter, isn't he? But I don't think he'd be standing for that.
Might as well be hung for a lamb as for a sheep.
Yeah, or will Kit try again for round 2? I think it feels like this week the attack on Mel has kind of just ended with no strong conclusions.
I think
as we say, Kit's not going to go down for it, so
Kit
why not?
and Dev should team up and beat him up together.
Just finish him off this time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he's going to die.
Do you really?
on the 23rd of April.
I don't know. Oh, there's too many villains on this programme at the moment, aren't there?
I mean, is it my fault? Is it your fault everyone's got the same name? And is it my fault everyone's a villain? Because I did say I like antagonists and villains and conflicts.
It's so peculiar how they're making this big story about, hey, which one of these 5 villains, and then they're still throwing other ones in.
I know, but wait, there's more.
On top of it.
If you enjoyed this
villain... You don't need a villain in every story. So the Will Green story this week was a lot more slow going. There was a bit more of Sam. He was more back in the spotlight, wasn't he?
Sam is clearly, and I just double checked this before the podcast, suffering from Ritalin-induced paranoia.
Is that a thing?
Yes, I checked this out because he's not. This isn't proportional or within his personality, is it? The way he's acting, paranoid and delusional.
Oh, I'm glad that is a thing because, Jude Riordan is doing such a superb job at that kind of wide-eyed, scared...
Yeah, when he was staring at nothing, he was just standing in front of the cabin on today's episode, and then Tyrone appeared behind him and he got freaked out. It's clear something has gone wrong in his head because of this abuse of this prescription drug.
Yeah, and the same with his phone as well, when he chucks that in the bin, and lots of people, us included, were saying, what on earth is he doing? Why has he thrown his phone away?
It's because it's not prescription. So number one, it's not his. He doesn't actually need to take it. But number two, nobody's overseeing the dosage. So he's just probably taking far more than you would ever take, and it can actually really, really mess your brain up. And unfortunately, it can be permanent. I don't think it will be for Sam.
No, nothing.
But
is.
I just thought prescription drugs were all a big laugh myself, and I'm really disappointed to find out that I can't just. That was one of my future plans, if everything goes wrong, I thought I'll just take some Ritalin and see what happens. But now that dream has been taken away from me.
The issue-based storyline has taught you a lesson here.
Yeah,
at least.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, we didn't have a whole lot of Nick and Leanne this week, did we?
Barely in it.
No, they were barely in it, but maybe it was all just
Sam.
Pay a bit more attention to what's going on.
I think I'd notice if my child didn't have his phone all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because I would only give my child a phone, and I know, because I don't have a kid, and all the parents are going, oh yeah, we're going, yeah. I really wouldn't want my child to have access to a phone without me knowing everything they're doing on there. And I wouldn't, the only reason they would have a phone is so I can contact them. And so, therefore, if I cannot suddenly contact them, I'd be wondering where the phone is.
Because you can get these apps, can't you? That like parent apps, and they can check out your
screen
time and where you are and what you're doing on it and everything like that. Yeah.
I just think it's so. Oh, poor kids having all of the depravity of the world in a little tiny block in their pockets.
Not only were Nick and Toya and Leanne fairly absent this week, Megan as well. We've not seen her at all, have we?
Can I just point out the obvious here that you've forgotten?
What?
They're all doing the marathon, so they're recovering all week.
Oh, do you reckon?
Yeah, Megan's sporty, Nick loves running.
Yeah, maybe.
Leanne and Toya probably went along to support him, and Toya probably had like a vegan food stand there or something.
Okay.
Just to promote the bistro.
I don't think that's what happened down there. Yeah, Megan is missing in action, but she has been suspended from school, and clearly she's not living with Leanne anymore, so it makes kind of sense that she's not lurking quite so much as she was before.
She's getting paid to do nothing.
It's strange
she's making money.
It's strange how Will's not able to contact her, because we've seen him across the week leaving her text messages, voice messages, and she's just not responding in any way, despite the fact that she gave him that phone like the end of last week to say this is how we contact each other. Is she just trying to lie low, or is there something happened to her?
If we didn't know that she was alive on the 23rd of April, I'm sure the clickbait headlines for next week would be Corrie fans twig, Megan Walsh twist, she's dead. Yeah,
it's feeling like a bit of a missing person who turns up dead story.
Yeah,
but it's not. But maybe
she's got a twin sister, and that's why the fringe was... Oh my God, imagine if that was true. That's why she's got a fringe in the flash forward. I realised she actually... Like last week, I realised she already does have a little bit of a fringe, and I felt like an idiot. But it feels like the fringe on April is a different fringe to the fringe she's got now. That's all I can say to defend myself. I'm obviously fringe blind. But imagine if she's dead, Maggie killed her, and the person in the flash forward isn't even Megan, it's her sister. That would be the best use of a twin that a soap has ever done. Because twins in soaps normally are a bit crap, aren't they? What? Playing babies. Yeah. They've got a rich history.
I don't know. Edna Miller and her sister Iris was good for a laugh.
But how fun would that be, though, if I just uncovered the twist of the century?
Well, the other place that people often turn up on if they've mysteriously absent is locked up in somebody's basement somewhere. Yeah. So I don't know if anyone's checked the Rovers cellar, but maybe Maggie's got her held hostage down there.
Or in a B&B in Ireland.
Yeah, maybe. But there's probably no phone reception in the Rovers cellar as well. And that's why Will's not getting through to her.
Yeah, probably.
I think it makes that
She's there. Sense. You know, when you're in a horror movie or something, your phone hasn't got reception. You always have to hold it up to the ceiling to see if it will work.
Anyway, I wouldn't say there were too many big story progression beats with this one this week. It was lots of just kind of everyone's a little bit stressed out and worried about what's happening, and Will's still denying that anything actually happened to him. Yeah, it's the fallout to it. And exactly.
People are unravelling the story because they get a bit further into Chloe.
Yeah, Will says, look, Chloe's lying about not being in the hotel with me that time. It was her, honestly. And Eva's still saying, well, look, Megan not doing this DNA test is clearly proof of everything.
Monday was supposed to be her appointment.
Oh, yes, it was, wasn't it?
Yes,
she had that appointment at 12:30.
And we don't know what it was for.
Oh, I'd totally forgotten that.
Because some of us think it might be a checkup, and some of us think it might be a termination.
Yes. I can't believe I'd forgotten that. We were really looking forward to seeing what was going to happen with that, and it totally disappeared out of my mind. So maybe she's just, recovering.
It very well could be something that she has to recover from, yes.
Well, you might say that about lots of operations that Weatherfield residents
Imagine
go through.
If the only time they ever
actually
did something realistic was with a paedophile.
Yeah, maybe she is. Anyway, Will ends up storming out of this family meeting, and Ollie suggests that he should get a counsellor.
Well, why don't you make dinner, Ollie?
Which he does the next day. Meanwhile, you have a couple of school scenes. You got Hope enters the ring, doesn't she, as part of this story, and she's clearly the goss is already out. Yeah,
she's like, "Oh, drama! I've heard Miss Walsh was bullying you."
Yeah, I don't. At the moment, I'm not completely sure what purpose she's going to serve. Maybe she's going to be the one who realises that Sam is a bit out of sorts, because none of the grown-ups are.
No, they were like, "Oh, he's just a spooky child."
He's just a bit of a weirdo, isn't he? Because she hasn't. I'm never going to criticise a Hope appearance. It's always good. And Tyrone also seemed like he was thrown in there today's episode for no particular reason. Hello, Alan Halsall. You fancy your monthly appearance? We haven't got no stories for you, but you can be in this one if you like.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence that he's Hope's dad, is it? Something's going to happen with those characters.
I would think so. But anyway, Daniel's been a bit weird around Sam at school as well, isn't he?
He's not. You said this was weird, and I said this isn't weird.
Well, no, he's just acting overly friendly and apologetic.
You're just confused because we've never seen Daniel actually do his job.
Tell you what, he didn't have his lanyard around his neck in the corridor this week. He'd get in trouble for that.
I thought he was being a very sensible and responsible person, which you're correct in saying is completely out of character for Daniel.
He was just saying, look, I'm really, really sorry, Sam, I didn't believe you before. Come and speak to me if you need to speak to someone. I can help you with the work that you've caught up on. Daniel's feeling guilty, isn't he?
And then immediately Sam's like, this is suspicious. A teacher helping a student.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
So that kind of sets things going there a little bit. And then you also have a scene at the end of the episode where Ben is talking to this Mel, the mum of Will, on the phone, and she's clearly fuming that Ben has let this happen under his nose. Their precious son has been stalked and groomed by a school teacher. How on earth did this happen? This is all your fault. You're clearly failing at parenting. Probably it's Eva's fault as well.
It smacks a bit of, what's Sam's mum's name?
Natasha.
And what is... Oh, who's the other one? Dylan's mum.
Violet.
Violet. They're like, look, I'm not interested in raising my child or having anything to do with him, but I've been watching the programme and you're doing an absolute crap job of this.
It really is, isn't it? And I don't know what Alina thinks about how Tyrone's been treating Doran at the moment as well.
No, I know.
Maybe they don't get Corrie in Romania.
They're like, she's like, if you think I'm going back to that show so they can kill me off and make me into the Weatherfield Dead Mothers Society, you got another thing
Well,
coming.
I'm sorry, Alina, but if you saw what happened to Jim McDonald and Les Battersby, they can kill them off screen these days.
Well, they're in the Weatherfield Dead Dad Society and nobody cares about them. I think Mel and see Natasha, she's dead now. Violet, Mel, and Alina are like, no way. You can do what you like with my kid. I give up.
That's what Kirsty tried as well, and they killed her off, didn't they?
Exactly. Yeah. You've got to be really careful if you're an absent mother in Corrie.
So Ben's finding it all very difficult this week, and he's starting to blame himself. We see that kind of progress a little bit as the week goes on. Tuesday, though, Ben has got his heart set on having Will see a counsellor, and he's booked an appointment, and Will doesn't really want to do this at all, but he's like, okay, fine, I'll just go once. And nothing really came out of it, did they? They talked about rugby, and he told the counsellor the same thing as he told everyone else, that he had a crush on Miss Walsh, and that was the end of it.
Well, he's clearly trying to build a rapport with this kid, isn't he? Like, the first session is just trying to break the ice.
Yeah, but Will's very much like, well, I've done what I said I'd do. I've done my counselling. Don't need that anymore. Thank you very much.
What a really hard job that counsellor has got.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, is it the same the dodgy counsellor that Lisa went, that we're still not sure whether it was in cahoots?
The one that had a dodgy phone call once and then
never mentioned again.
I don't know. Also, we all had Kit come round and said that they checked their phone and there's no evidence there, so that clears that pathway up, I suppose. You got Daniel in the corridor again. This is the only reason that I think it's feeling creepy, and it's because it's the only scenes that we're seeing. Like, if there's a school scene, good chance it's going to have Daniel targeting in on Sam, saying, hey Sam, just checking you're okay.
He's guilty about what's happened to Sam, so he's being overly protective of him.
He says you need to remember everything you can about Megan so that you can tell the police and she can get banged up. And Hope's there again saying, well, look, Daniel, there's something sus about him. He's clearly fishing for what you know about Megan, so he can go home and tell Megan. I don't think he's split up with her at all. And this is all feeding into Sam's paranoia, which builds up to him chucking his phone in the bin towards the end of the episode when Daniel has another little conversation with them outside the tram stop.
This bamboozled everybody, and I'm really so glad that they brought it back up again on Thursday to explain what happened. Yeah, so nobody understood what the hell he'd done that for.
No, because he's dropped his phone, hasn't he? And Daniel's like, "Oh, you dropped your phone there."
Picked and he kind of
turns it around in his hands a little bit, and Sam thinks. But this is what I still don't get. Like how?
Well, he explained it. Do you want me to tell you?
What did he say? That he thinks that Daniel has emailed him
a tracker.
Yeah.
I don't think that's impossible to have done.
I would have thought that...
He clearly didn't do that.
I would have thought that Sam would have been smarter enough to realise...
He is suffering from paranoia induced by medication that he shouldn't have been taking. It's a chemical reaction. He's not got any control over it.
Okay.
I don't know what I do not understand... I'm not a chemist and I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I don't understand how it happens, but it's causing him to have paranoid thoughts and delusions. And you can also get hallucinations as well.
Well, we all saw that with Carla's story, didn't he? He's going to see Hayley walking down the road soon. He didn't even know her.
I don't think that Carla was on Ritalin.
No. She just accidentally dropped a roof on Rana's head.
I know, and they made a whole movie about that when it was a witch that did it.
We had a nice little scene with Will and Susie, and I still kind of sometimes been a little on the fence with Susie, but I did quite enjoy that scene there. And it also helps humanise Will a little bit, because he's just been a massive grump, and having them sitting there and
he's being nice to her sister.
Yeah, and he's trying to get hold of Megan on the phone, but she can't. But she's not responding. And then Susie coming in and giving him a big hug and saying, "Oh, is this girl problems? As she say, like, I got 2 boys at school that fancy me." And it was just kind of sweet and innocent, and they have a lovely hug. And
I did really like
Will
that
needs a few more scenes like that.
Of Will, where he's just a nice big brother. Like, he could have been a dick to her, couldn't he? Like, lots of boys his age would think their little sister's an annoying pest.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But he was very patient.
Well, he's clearly going through the ringer, and I suppose the story's doing a fairly good job now of, because he's not felt like that much of a victim, has he?
But if you think about,
and this is showing that the emotional impact this having him, because he clearly is head over heels in love with this teacher, you know, and he's blind. He doesn't see that it's wrong, and I think these scenes showed that, God, you really are in over your depth, and you know what I'm saying.
I do. I want to say that I think that Susie is the only family member he really can be open in himself with, because she doesn't know what's going on really, and everybody else, if they are nice to him or they comfort him, he's thinking they've got an ulterior motive of trying to get him to come out with what's happened between him and Megan. And so he's guarded with everybody, but with Susie, he actually can just take comfort in the fact she loves him.
Yeah, it makes me wonder like how much they're going to use her in the story, and could Megan get into a situation where she threatens Susie or says something, you know, something's got to happen to make Will realise, oh my gosh, this woman, she's a wrong 'un, and maybe. Well,
sorry to tell you that Megan's dead, and actually it's
no, she's not.
Megan,
she's just
her evil twin.
It's Megan. She's just tied up in the Rover's cellar behind a barrel somewhere. That's all.
It would be quite weird if Coronation Street is the first soap to kill the evil twin off to introduce the good one, unless they're both evil pedos.
Could be. Could be. They kind of plot together. You're making it up.
I think I might be.
Friday's story was mostly just Ben feeling a bit sorry for himself, and it looked like, I didn't know, because there was the scene where he was sitting in the stool and
he was slumping
on Jenny's
around.
stool in the back of the bar, slumping around having a drink, and he was kind of drinking himself silly because of how ashamed of himself he now feels that he's allowed this to happen to his son. You know, Mel's really got to him. And he comes in, but I wondered whether he was having heart problems, especially when he comes into the cab office later and he's staggering around a bit, and I was like, is there something going on with your ticker there and you're just not saying it because you know that the big drama isn't about that at the moment? But I think he was just, he just been feeling sorry for himself and turning to the bottle. And there's a nice little scene in there with Tim and Steve where it's kind of tantamount to Tim saying, look, mate, my daughter had a baby when she was 12, right? And Steve's like, yeah, my daughter was raped. So, sorry, there's nothing special about what's happening to you. It's just,
do you think you are?
You come to Weatherfield, you're going to have dramas, deal with it.
Yeah, you wait to see what else is going to happen.
Yeah, this is only your first 3 months. No, it wasn't like that at all. But
it did feel like that.
Yeah, from a fourth wall breaky kind of, we know. It's like nobody ever talks to her. It's very rare that people say about, this happened to me once, otherwise the list would never stop, would it?
Yeah.
Anyway, Eva comes to pick him up because I think she's been summoned. But
I think we were supposed to get from that scene like men supporting each other, but it unfortunately just felt kind of like they've just been on Corriepedia and reminded themselves of what the previous storylines they'd been involved were.
I very much enjoyed it, and I thought that Aaron did a very good job.
It's interesting because Tim didn't say anything about when he was a kid.
Yes, that's true, actually.
This must be on his mind, like...
Yeah.
He didn't go, look, mate, is it really a big deal? Nobody said this, and I know for a fact in real life somebody would be at least thinking, so what's the problem? A lad got all off with his hot teacher. I know that somebody would be thinking that. So the fact that Tim didn't say a peep about him and... What was her name? You always remember, and I never do.
Trisha.
Like, so what? You know? Yeah. I think I would... Is Tim thinking... Are they just going to not bring it up now because there's going to be something about it another time? I think it's more likely that.
It feels like we are very close to that story being brought up.
You can imagine Tim going up... I would love to see a scene with Tim going up to Steve and going, what is the problem with this? I don't get why everyone's... Like, not in a jokey way. Like, seriously, like, why is everyone going on about this all the time? What's the problem? Because bloody Sally's going on at me about this. Now you got...
I don't think Tim's stupid enough to not realise how a teacher having an affair with a student is wrong. He sees it, what happened to him, as not being a problem because it was just the woman down the shop. I think that Tim would think it's completely different.
Do you think it's because maybe the age gap was different. I don't know. Was that lady younger?
I mean,
can't remember
Megan's
how old
fairly
they said.
young, isn't she?
Well,
But
she's in her 20s.
Yeah, if she's a qualified teacher, she's got to be at least 22 or so, I would say.
That old?
And she's been doing the job for a while, so...
Well, she's been doing it for a couple of years, you'd think, because she'd been in Hull and now she's here.
Yeah, so I think that there is a slightly more of a gap than there was between Tim and Trisha, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if Tim thinks it's a bit different and he has to have somebody spell it out to him. But it's gonna be clunky. I think it's gonna be clunky when he realises.
I think the problem I have with Corrie, and I've had this for quite a few years now, is that everybody reacts in the most perfect way to every terrible issue. They always... Very rarely does anybody say the wrong thing or get the wrong end of the stick or have to be educated on it.
Yeah, well, it's not even a terrible issue, is it? So it's like, when Carla and Lisa ended up together, there wasn't anybody... That was not a terrible issue, but nobody said, hang on a minute.
Nobody went, what's
Carla's
happening?
not gay.
I mean...
And when it came out that Carl and James were sleeping together.
I get why... But it does feel like Coronation Street exists in this bubble of this utopia where there's no problematic views about anything. Yeah. Nobody's ever says the wrong thing or put their foot in their mouth.
This is their chance to really explore it.
Well, I don't want them to do it with this storyline.
No, with Tim and Trisha. I don't want it to do... That's why I don't want Tim to just say, you know what, I've learned a lesson here today.
I don't know.
Anyway, Swain Ward. The gentle, very few issues story this week, although some... There was that one scene with Carla, which we'll get to, which was bizarrely... I'm losing all my words.
Right, so on
out.
Tuesday, Betsy says she's going to look after Connie with Dylan, and Lisa does not like this idea, and she says, what if you need to feed her or change her nappy? And Carla's like, no, I think that she can look after her. I think we should let her and Dylan look after this baby together.
They are adults now.
Carla spends a lot of the time going, someone else can do this because I've got work to do, which I completely understand because she's running a business. But equally, I wouldn't give a baby to someone who'd never changed a nappy because Betsy says she has not done this before.
Yeah, but they still are. I feel that they're sometimes treating Betsy like she's 14 or 15 or so and not an 18-year-old. But then Betsy acts like she's a 14 or 15-year-old, doesn't she?
It's tricky, isn't it? So Connie falls asleep. Dylan and Betsy are alone on the sofa. Dylan's trying to get a bit of snog out of her. But then she realises that he's got a bit of baby sick on his collar and she says, I can't kiss you when you're covered in baby sick. So he starts to take his fleece off just as Carla walks in. And then she's like, oh my God, how could you? You're going to have sex on my sofa.
I just thought that was really, really peculiar. One, because she, earlier on that episode, she'd been saying, no, it's going to be fine. Why didn't they play it the other way? And have Lisa think it's going to be okay.
I think
I trust my daughter, and then
it would have made more sense to me if Lisa had been the one that came in and went, number one, no sex with my daughter at all, let alone on the sofa. Number two, that's it.
Yeah, and because Carla had just been so laid back, and she was like having a screaming abdabs about the fact that the boy was taking his jumper off.
Yeah, she jumped to conclusions, and it was a bit hammy to me.
It was really, really heavy-handed, and it was a case of, well, sorry, we've only got room for 2 scenes in this story in this episode, so we're going to have her go from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. But yeah,
I think a lot of
that didn't quite hit for me.
Carla and Lisa fans thought it was funny, and it was supposed to be funny. I think for a lot of people, maybe who know Carla from many years ago, felt like it was slightly out of character for her, and also it was performed as a joke.
But it was also, I think the other issue I've got with it is Carla just so happened to walk in just at the moment that the jumper was coming over their head. I know. But anyway, that's the last we see Dylan, so he's clearly been scared off for the rest of the week, hasn't he?
Dylan has been buried in a garden by this point.
He's tied up in the locker with, not the locker, in the Rover's cellar with Megan, yeah.
Is it my go?
Yeah, you're doing this one, yeah.
Wednesday, I'm sorry everyone. Lisa brings Connie into the factory because she's like, listen, buddy, I've got to go to work here. You're going to have to look after the baby, please. And I think Carla ends up palming her off onto Michael, doesn't she?
Yes.
You're a daddy, go. So they talk about wedding plans and Lisa's like super chill about it, and she's like, we don't have to invite people, do we? I heard about Todd and Theo and I thought that sounded like magnificent. Just 2 witnesses.
This was the scene that was written for the Swala fans, wasn't it? When they're saying, hey, we're the queens, aren't we?
Well, no, because Carla says, I want everyone to come. I want this to be a big affair because we're total queens. And Lisa's like, I don't know if that's...
But then at the end of the episode, she's like, yeah, we are queens, aren't we? It did feel a bit like that.
One of you has got to be a princess, you know, unless you're queens of rival kingdoms. But what happens then?
Well, the factory versus the police station.
Well, I mean, like, historically speaking, a queen is only the queen if there's no king, right? But if we had a gay queen and she married a woman, she would be married to a princess, not another queen.
You're thinking too hard into it, Gemma. They're just queens, aren't they?
I know, but when I watched this, I was thinking, well, actually, I think that one would be a princess and one would be a queen. Unless you're a queen consort and a queen regnant. Is that what they're called?
I don't know.
Who's the queen consort of this relationship? I think it has to be Lisa because, you know, I think Carla is the queen of the cobbles.
You can't have Lisa usurping Carla, no, you're right.
She, you know, just seniority.
Yeah.
In terms of years of service.
For sure.
On Thursday.
It was nice that they were bringing up the wedding, because again, a bit like Theo and Todd.
I know.
Like, when do you start planning a wedding?
Should we put out invites for this very special day?
Go on then. We are a month away from it. I suppose we better start thinking about it.
How much crap we got off your dad for not sending out invitations?
Literally, I remember we started planning our wedding a year before it happened. That's when we got in touch with the vicar. That's when we were starting to think about, you know, the wedding stationery. That's when we were looking for venues. Is it just because it's such a fait accompli that they'll get married in the bistro or Chariot Square? It's like, we don't even need to think about this.
No point writing down the destination because it will be...
And don't point sending out invites. It's just whatever cast happened to be in the show this week can turn up on it. It's mind-boggling that A, I'm still not going to give up on this, but I might as well. She is still married to Becky.
Lisa is, yeah.
Lisa is. And B, they're not planned any of it. What on earth? You're getting married in a month's time, ladies.
They're very chill about it, and they've still got a baby hanging around too. Like,
it'd serve them right if they ended up in the same grotty dive that Theo and Todd married in.
This is what we get for not planning ahead.
Yeah.
I can't even go for a meal without booking ahead, and if I don't, I feel anxious, even if it's some
What if there are no tables free?
At McDonald's, I'm like, hello, can I book for next Tuesday?
Well, I'm sure it'll all go perfectly.
It'll be fine. It'll be beautiful.
Definitely no murders.
They're like, Lisa, Carla's like, come here, Lisa. Look, I know you don't know this because you haven't been in the show as long as I have, but if they want this to go out beautifully and be romantic and cute, it will be, no matter what. So forget it.
They haven't even dropped the line of, oh, there's been a cancellation.
There could have been a cancellation this week, but unfortunately they went to it.
Yeah. Have they actually sorted a venue? Because I don't want to get myself corrected again. Because are they getting married in Chariot Square? Have we seen this already?
Yes, because there was a cancellation of that.
Oh yes.
What was it? An architectural affair.
Yes. So that bit has been organised.
And I think that
has stand corrected.
That's cracked into Carla's brain, I think, because she was watching that architectural TV show. I think she would rather have gone to the exhibition.
But I still stand by the fact that they seem fairly laissez-faire about this upcoming nuptials.
Well, they haven't even talked about the guest list, have they? Because Lisa's like, don't have to invite everyone, do we? It's like, well, by this point, you would have invited everyone, like 6 months ago, you would know who was going and where they were sitting.
Yeah. But again, anybody can just not go to work at the drop of a hat in Coronation Street land, can't they?
Exactly. It doesn't even matter what day of the week it is.
No.
It's got to be on a weekday.
Oh, well.
Well, anyway, on Thursday...
Oh yeah, Jodie
again,
gets involved.
Connie needs minding and Carla's busy.
How long
and
is
Lisa's
this woman
got
having
to
an
go.
operation for?
Sheila, she's ill.
I know, but...
Lisa's got to go in to work and Carla's supposed to be looking after her and she's like, oh God, here we go again. And then Jodie's like, oh, I can look after her. I've got 8 years experience and I'm DBS checked.
Which we have recently found out. She is a nanny / childminder / something of those along those lines, isn't she?
Yes, that's true. I'm in witness protection, so you can't look up my DBS checks, but you've got to believe that I am.
I wonder what David and Shona talk to Jodie about. Of an evening, especially after they haven't got a story going on. I know they spend
all their time at the hospital.
Spend all their time in the hospital, but maybe if Jodie goes along to the hospital, and Harper's not going to be engaging in any kind of conversation with them, so
boring,
surely Jodie and Shona will get talking.
Got to fill
and
the time
Shona's
with something.
So, what have you been up to? What have you been doing?
Oh, funny you should ask.
I'm still waiting for the scene where it's revealed that she's a childminder and Shona doesn't know. It just feels like there's an awful lot of mystery still around this character who's been in the show for a couple of months.
So Lisa does not know this is happening. Carla hasn't bothered to tell her. So when she comes home and Jodie's in the kitchen, she's like, what the hell's going on here? Carla comes in behind her and picks up the baby and she's like, oh, it's this. And Lisa's quite grumpy about this. And Carla says, you went to the grumpy factory today or something like that. And Lisa's like, have you even checked these references that she supposedly has? And Carla's like, yeah, well, no.
Carla should have been like, she's my niece, thank you very much.
Well, she's also our neighbour.
Yeah. Although, not for too long.
I know, but
Lisa's just being she wants to be in control about things.
Well, she's also correct, and I do think that something will come out if they go to check her DBS, whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
What did we work out that was called? We always say DBS, and it's only today that I actually bothered to look up what it actually stands for because I had no idea.
Something barring service.
Disclosure and barring service. So there's three layers of checking to see, but it's basically to find out if somebody's got a criminal record.
Yes.
Which I'm sure she will have. I don't believe she's got DBS checks that are up to date.
Well, maybe that's what will happen. Jodie will be used
and then
de facto childminder, and
then Lisa will be like, excuse me, I told you.
Yeah, Lisa can be all smug about it.
Yeah, exactly. She loves that.
She does love it. Loves being right. Right, so as I said earlier, we only had a couple of scenes of the filthy rich story, and it was basically Adam having a meeting with Annie, wasn't there? He's losing clients left, right, and centre.
Annie is the lady who's suing
Annie's
George.
The lady who's suing George, who's got many problems at the moment, and they have a meeting together, and she says, well, I want to drop you because everyone else is dropping you, and Adam says, no, please stay with us, and all the paperwork's ready and everything, and she's like, well, go on then, I really, really do want to take George down, so I suppose I'll stick with you, kid.
And Ali is there going, I don't think this is ethical.
Yeah, probably. Right, that was the week that was in Coronation Street, the week that just happened, and although it didn't quite match up to the greatness of last week's Coronation Street, I would still say there was plenty here. It's definitely been enough to keep us talking, even if some of that talking was criticising things that didn't quite hit the mark for us particularly, but I'm sure other people enjoyed it. I think, it wasn't in any way a bad week. I was pretty much engaged one way or the other with all of the stories there.
I thought they had a good hook, going in. We all remembered, well, we did, that there was supposed to be a wedding, and then always, what's going to happen? How is that going to, and going into Monday, going, oh, the marathon's supposed to happen. How will Todd react to what Theo's done? Will he work it out?
Yeah.
And also seeing Christina and George not being under his spell was great.
Yeah, there were highs and lows this week. I think I'm probably going to end up going with. I
only give this week 3.
Okay. 3
big chunks of onion inside Michael's cheese and onion sandwich.
Thank you for that. 3's sounding pretty good to me. Yeah, I'll go with 3 naturally pasty children out of 5, which is what Sam described himself as when Tyrone caught him looking at his reflection in the mirror. He's probably just checking that he had a reflection and he wasn't a vampire.
It could be.
So he's going to be paranoid about that.
You don't always know when you get turned.
Do you have a character of the week this week?
I don't know.
I'm
trying to think. Who do I think?
I mean, Bernie was pretty good, wasn't she?
Yeah, I'm going to pick Bernie with a corkscrew.
Yeah.
I was proud of her.
Yeah, I might go
I think
Bernie.
it was very dangerous what she did, obviously, but I like a bit of...
Tell you who I'm not going to give it to.
Power.
Gary and Maria.
Gary and Maria are going to be sitting in the dancer's corner.
I hope so.
They're going to stand with their nose on the corner and a little dancer's cap on for this week.
I'm going to give it to... I
don't know if I feel sorry for them.
George. George can be my character of the
Yeah.
week this week. He was a good guy. He's spotted. He's not taken any of Theo's rubbish.
Nonsense.
And it looks like by the end of the week he's going to actually try and sabotage this wedding, which is...
What wedding? It's already happened.
Well, you know, the marriage.
The marriage, yeah.
It's happened.
Good old
Not
St.
before
George.
time. Well, it is before time. We should have sorted this out a couple of weeks ago, but oh well. Right, there we go. That was this week's Coronation Street.